To always get the latest Game Tea, do not forget to follow us on social media. You can find us on Facebook at The Game Tea Podcast, and you can find us on Twitter at Game Tea Podcast X. We post memes, gaming news, retweet friends of the pod, and of course let you know when new episodes are available for your listening pleasure. Links are all available in the description of this episode, so check them out after the show, and thank you so much for listening to the Game Tea Podcast. Hello, everybody, and welcome to another episode of the Game Tea Podcast. My name is JP.
I'm Beaches. Zach, we had it. We had it down. We were doing so good.
Should we try again?
No, we're already here. We're already in it.
We're in too deep. Hi, guys. It's good to see ya.
Hi, Trader.
Fucking going on vacations without us.
JP, yeah, what'd you do? Give us the updates.
Holy shit, guys. So, I was in Jamaica for a week. I flew to Jamaica, did that with my family, went to the nice fancy schmancy resort where they gave me all the alcohol I wanted. So clearly I don't remember half the trip. And then I flew from Jamaica to Miami and then Miami to Denver for a bachelor party.
Thanks for the invite.
I'm not the one getting married. What? And then finally, I flew home, and I just got in a few days ago. I never want to see a drop of alcohol again. I just had a White Claw a few hours ago, but that is besides the point.
Is White Claw really alcohol? I mean, that's just, wrong water, if you ask me.
Exactly. And I gotta say, I had an amazing time on vacation. I owe you three immensely for allowing me to do that.
We're not your boss.
But I am jealous of you guys because you got to be in the thick of it when we had all of those amazing E3 trailers last week. You guys got to talk about it. I think you even watched a bunch of the showcases together and oh boy, this is fun, but I wish JP was here. Right? Right? I'm sure that's what
I'm sure. I think that must have come up once, right, Zach?
I got a PS5.
Do you physically possess it, or were you just successfully able to order it?
I physically possess it and I'm playing it. It's great.
I could not believe that he picked that up. I called him yesterday. I was like, answer the phone.
So what I was doing before this, when I'm kind of late to this episode, is I had to go and get a 4K monitor because, 4K gaming now. So I was like, I'm just going to get a really good full HD one because they're cheap. It's a good time. And now I'm in the 4K world, boys.
I'm happy for you, Zach. You're really living like Larry.
Who's Larry?
Larry the Lobster.
I mean, really, what's the difference between 4K and 320p, right?
Am I right? All right, so the last thing we need to say before we get started for the day. Obviously for me, I missed you all very much. I'm extremely happy to be podcasting again. Czar will not be joining us today. He has his own little thing going on, which he will explain as soon as he gets back. But for today and probably Saturday as well, it's just going to be the three of us to break down everything that went on at E3 and to talk about who won E3 as well as who won the showcase. So obviously there's a ton to talk about when it comes to E3. Today's thing, which is Wednesday. Today's Wednesday. The episode drops on Wednesday.
Every time.
We're just going to be talking about the showcases.
JP, we kind of talked about it last time, but there's always that potential of us getting new people in our podcast. What is an E3 and why is it important?
Zach, I am so glad you asked. E3 is the time for gamers to rejoice and come together and see a bunch of showcases from a bunch of developers who have amazing things in the works. So E3 is essentially a multi-day panel where any game developer can come and show off whatever it is that they want to show off that they've been working so hard on. And I think what's actually really great about E3 is the fact that people get to choose whether or not they want to be involved, which is great because, like, it means that if a developer shows up, chances are they've got a project that they're either really excited about or that's close to being done or that they think is going to be extravagant. And that's exactly what we got this year with E3. Essentially, Zach, I feel like since we missed out on E3 last year, a lot of these studios that showed up for this year really brought their A game. And obviously, I listened to the episodes that you and Czar and Peaches made about your predictions. Obviously, not all of it came true, but you guys had a lot of really great guesses and a really, even the things that you didn't get right, I thought were not always completely wishful thinking, although a couple of you guys said some outlandish stuff, mostly Czar.
Mostly Czar.
If you had to pick one of us that was the most correct, you want to just go ahead and shout that person's name who begins with a P out?
I don't know. Zach got some good guesses out of that Nintendo Direct.
Yo!
I'm just saying.
Besides the fact that I, literally threw the whole kitchen table at it.
That's true.
I'm kind of pretty up. I'll save my thoughts. We're gonna get to it. We'll get to it. But yeah, I got it all right, but I also threw out the most guesses.
Yeah, you are. Yes, you're right. Even a blind squirrel finds a nut every now and again.
What?
Nice.
You're that squirrel, Zach. You're the squirrel. Peaches, you're the nut.
Fuck yes, I always wanted to be the nut.
I know you do, buddy. I'm so happy to hear from you guys again.
It's a good time. Once Czar comes back, we'll have the whole family back, and it'll be great.
Well, actually, I'm going on vacation, but it's fine.
Fuck you.
No, that's all right.
Did you take it up with the manager?
Who is the manager?
Isn't that the question?
All right, so E3 stuff. What happened first?
We have a nice little script here with the days and the events as they took place. We're going to run down the list and do our best to summarize the biggest events and everything that was announced. So I believe, Peaches, are you taking the first showcase that happened on the first day?
Yeah, I'll kick us off with Ubisoft. Guys, I kind of expected more from Ubisoft, if we're being honest.
Really? Okay.
Yeah, I mean, my predictions came true. Though I was wrong about what it was called. I guessed, Rainbow Six Quarantine. It's called Rainbow Six Extraction. Far Cry, that was the most obvious one that was going to be there. And it's actually something that surprised me. We'll talk about it real quick. Is Mario and Rabbids Sparks of Hope?
Yes.
Well, I want to start us there because this one, I did not expect another Mario and Rabbids, even though the first one was very well received. Zach, you're a bigger Mario and Switch guy here. Did you get down on the first Mario Rabbids?
Yeah, it's a good game. It kind of came at a perfect time. I think it came out, was it September or late August, the first year of the Switch? And if you didn't know anything, there wasn't a lot of games on the Switch at that time. So it kind of, once you got the game, everyone was trying it. It was kind of a cool thing to experience the Switch that first year. Yeah, it sold really well. It was really fun. It's XCOM, but with Mario and Rabbids. And it sounds pretty goofy, and it is. And
but that's the point.
And it was really just so charming. Like, oh my God, it was just such a fun game. Like, it's one of those games where you just want to touch the world. You're like, well, now what are you going to do? And they would just do stuff. And you're like, of course it would. Mm-hmm. And I don't know. It was just, so yeah, I would say it had its own charm to it. But it wasn't my kind of game. It's more slow paced and like thinking. I don't like to think. I like to mash buttons.
Zach is a button masher. That is true.
Hey, and you know what? I actually think that this game fills a need in the Switch gaming genre. Like Zach said, there aren't a lot of XCOM type games for the Switch because those games usually are very system dependent. Like you need like really good specs on your system to run a game like that. And the fact that Mario Rabbids was able to kind of deliver that gameplay to the Switch, honestly, it's great. And I think the first one was well received. The second one, I mean, it's had enough time to cook. I think that this is going to be another banger for the Switch.
And I'm super excited because it's got my girl Rosalina in it.
Oh, well, you didn't mention Rosalina was there. I better go comb my hair.
Well, isn't it Rabbid Rosalina, or is it?
If there's Rabbid Rosalina, you can safely assume there will be Rosalina.
Fuck yeah.
I'm knocking on wood as we speak.
That's all I got on this one, though. JP, what do you think about Rabbids before we move on?
I'm in the same boat as Zach. I mean, unlike Zach, like, I only partially played the first game. This was a pretty big surprise coming out of the Ubisoft. At the same time, I think you make a great point in saying that this is going to fill a gap of like a part of the Switch library that's for so many missing, which is like the XCOM style gameplay. I don't know. I literally agree with Zach 100%. It's not my kind of game for different reasons, but I do acknowledge that there's a lot of people who are going to be excited about this. And for what it's worth, I do think it looks fun, just not for me.
Now that we got to talk about that a little bit, I'm just going to kind of truck through all the stuff that I think was kind of lame in this showcase and that I don't really care about.
And that's not to say, and I'm going to say the same thing when I give my presentation. So I'll say it wasn't good. Please tell us on Twitter if there's something that we just don't understand. But at the end of the day, these are our opinions. Okay.
The door is open for all death threats.
Yeah, just send them my way. I can take it. It's fine.
I can't. Please don't.
I'm sensitive.
So Ubisoft Game Pass. I do not want there to be a million types of Game Passes out there. And so, yeah, like we don't need a million Game Passes like we have a million streaming services now. So hopefully this doesn't become a trend, but I'm sure it will.
Yeah, sadly.
The Crew 2, this game has been out and they're just updating it. Great. You know, if you like The Crew 2, you got more content coming. Love it. For Honor, same thing. It's just updates coming out. You know, if you're still playing For Honor, I'm surprised, but you get to see more content coming your way. That's great. Rocksmith Plus. Now, Rocksmith was announced a while back. I think this is just adding to what's already on Rocksmith, if I understood correctly. And this is a pretty cool tool to learn instruments with. I don't know how well it works. I haven't heard anybody really talking about that they learned an instrument through Rocksmith, but if someone did...
Well, then it's a really good thing that you've got a musician right here.
Yo, did you learn something from Rocksmith? I feel like you've learned more from Guitar Hero than you have Rocksmith.
You know what's funny is you're totally right. In terms of learning how to play guitar, Rocksmith, I think, does its job in giving you the bare essentials that you need to start learning how to play guitar. And I will say that like the visual aid plus playing along with songs is definitely what keeps people enticed in learning how to play an instrument. That being said, a lot of the times I just found like its actual like setup to be extremely clunky and it doesn't really work the way it's supposed to most of the time. Just my 2 cents on that. I mean, I don't know anybody who's actually like been like, yeah, I learned 100% how to play guitar through Rocksmith. But on the other hand, I think it's more supposed to just get people motivated. Like, okay, I'm getting a little bit the hang of this, and I don't 100% suck anymore. So now maybe I can go elsewhere now that I know I want to pursue this for like actual lessons.
Right, and yeah, so it's a good starter tool. I don't know. I don't know how much they needed to really add to it. But moving on from that. Rainbow Six stuff I'm going to also touch on quickly because I feel like no one really cares that they're adding a new operator, and they might add like a short little story thing to go along with their new operator. Whatever on that. Assassin's Creed is also getting some DLC and updates. Trackmania is just another car game that's getting some updates. It was a lot of things like, hey, we're still adding stuff to some of the games that already exist.
So the reason why you must have been disappointed then was because you were looking for more new IPs instead of all these updates and DLC. Am I correct in saying that?
I mean, it doesn't even have to be a new IP, but like a brand new whole game. Like Extraction is just going to be like essentially DLC for Rainbow Six Siege. I feel like they could have done a whole lot more. What they did show, they showed a few things to really keep your eye on, and we will get into that in just a little bit.
All right. Ubisoft, as in my opinion, was kind of middle of the road when it came to their showcase. Had some cool stuff, but nothing too crazy to brag home about. I also know that you're a huge Borderlands guy. Since we don't have Czar, did you want to do the Gearbox showcase as well?
I mean, Gearbox literally like just talked about the movie for most of their showcase.
That was weird.
30 minutes they spent talking about the Borderlands movie coming out.
I didn't even know there was a Borderlands movie. Are people excited for this?
I mean, yeah, people love Borderlands, and I don't know how well the story of Borderlands is suited to a movie, but I'm interested to see how they pull it off. They've gotten some pretty big names attached to it.
I mean, I don't have a lot of faith in video game movies in general.
Hey, Sonic.
You know, okay. You know what's sad is Sonic is honestly probably the best of them.
Maybe. That's probably fair.
It wasn't great, but I mean, as far as video game movies go, that movie, if you put it in those parameters, probably got a solid B plus A minus in my opinion.
What did you think of the new Mortal Kombat movie? Did you like that one?
No comment.
So no.
All right, so before we get too far ahead of ourselves, I'm going to talk about like there were two main things that I think Ubisoft showed that are pretty big going forward.
Okay.
Far Cry 6. Obviously. But the thing is, it's the 6th installment in the Far Cry series. How long are they going to be able to keep this going is my question. Like, I love Far Cry, but like there's only so much you can like do with the series, I feel like, right?
Well, I mean, look at Assassin's Creed. There's a reason they don't number those.
You make a good point.
Yeah, yep, that's a damn good point. Like, I don't know. As opposed to Assassin's Creed, I feel like the quality in Far Cry games are always there. You know what I mean? I mean, like, I'm not worried at all that the quality of a Far Cry game is going to diminish because of how many iterations there are, because we haven't seen that happen yet. I feel like the Far Cry's actually done a pretty solid job of keeping their content new and exciting and fresh, but like similar enough to keep people interested. It's a very underrated series.
I have never played a Far Cry game.
They're pretty good.
I've honestly never wanted to, but I know that you guys enjoy them a lot.
It's not for everybody. Like no game is going to be for everybody, and that's totally fine. Some people don't like The Witcher, and you know they're wrong, but they can hold that opinion. And then the last big thing that we really got to touch on is obviously the Avatar: Frontiers of Pandora.
Right.
They just showed the cinematic for it, but it's got people hyped up. And a really cool fun fact is this game is going to come out before Avatar 2 comes out. Avatar 2, the movie about the blue people. And I just want to let you guys know, it's been up like, another hot decade in between Avatar 1 and 2. And they're able to make a whole ass game before the second one could come out.
Sometimes it do be like that.
Yeah, that's not that surprising, to be honest. But I'm excited for the game. It looked really cool. The cinematic was beautiful.
It was. I'm curious if it's going to play like an RPG or if it's going to play more like Far Cry.
That's the problem with these cinematics. They may look beautiful, but they don't tell you shit.
Yep.
Precisely. Yeah, Zach, you nailed that on the fucking head.
So, if you guys don't got anything to add to Far Cry 6 or Avatar Frontiers of Pandora, I mean, that pretty much wraps the Ubisoft forward. It's just a very middle of the road showcase. I didn't hate it. I didn't love it. It was there.
Well, if you were a little let down by day one, I'm sure day two perked you right back up, because Xbox Bethesda absolutely killed it with their showcase. So did Square Enix, in my opinion. But let's start with Xbox and Bethesda for day two. I understand that you three actually watched this showcase together, so you two definitely have the ability to really talk about what stood out to you most. Let's go down the list. Zach, what did you like about the showcase?
There were games.
There were games! Xbox has games!
There were so many games.
And they were coming to Xbox, and they even said exclusive sometimes. And I was like, well, they can do this?
Right? They have games! They did it! They
freaking did it. So yeah, I guess to answer your question, the first game, and really it's the first game they talked about, Starfield, and it was instant like, damn it, Peaches was right. It was just like right away. I guessed Elder Scrolls 6, and I was wrong.
I remember I listened to the episode where you guys were debating about Starfield, and Zach, you were totally down on it. You were like, nah, I don't know about that one, and it was boom, number one.
First thing, and I was like, okay, bad start. It's fine, I'm fine. So it just looked really cool. I love sci-fi games like that, sci-fi RPGs to be precise, which I guess makes me wonder why I don't like Far Cry, but it's whatever.
Right, so the really cool thing about this was that it was also a cinematic, and what we learned from the cinematic is that Starfield is gonna be in space.
NANI? Yeah. You're not a star, though. You're a person, it looks like.
You are not going to get to play as a Starfield, unfortunately. But I mean, the cinematic, I think really all we can take from that cinematic is one, looks like you're gonna control one character, and two, maybe you're gonna get to fly around in a spaceship. If you don't, I'm gonna be severely disappointed. There was something hidden in this cinematic. I don't know if you guys heard about it.
It's not going to PlayStation?
No, they didn't. They didn't hide the fact that this game is going to come out for PlayStation. There was a little drawing on the back of the spaceship, and somebody pointed out that drawing matches I don't know how to describe this, like one of the continents or one of the countries that exists in the Elder Scrolls series, possibly indicating where the next Elder Scrolls game is going to take place.
Really?
So, something to look out for.
Man, Bethesda spent as much time as they did making these cinematics as they did making their games. Their games might be less buggy.
All Bethesda shade is accepted here.
So, I mean, there was so much to take from the Xbox Bethesda, because right after they killed it with Starfield, Stalker 2, which I know Czar and I were talking a lot about, Heart of Chernobyl, it looked awesome. And then they did a little bit more for Back 4 Blood, which we've talked about this in the past. This is like the next kind of Left 4 Dead that looks amazing. And then they even did a little bit of Sea of Thieves, which I actually think is probably one of Xbox's best exclusives right now. Anything to add to those that you guys liked?
Back 4 Blood, I may have already said this, literally popped up in every showcase they could possibly get their hands on.
I think it's going to be a hit. I hope it's a hit.
I think so.
I think it's going to be a hit.
And Sea of Thieves, I mean, it's so, like, Microsoft has fuck you money. Of course they were going to bring, like, Pirates of the Caribbean to Sea of Thieves.
Mm-hmm.
You know,
absolutely.
If Disney will play nice with Microsoft, maybe Sora can be in Smash.
Keep dreaming, Zach. Keep dreaming.
I'm dreaming for you, JP. I'm dreaming for you.
I appreciate that, because spoiler alert, I was a little disappointed in the Smash reveal, but we'll get into that later.
I can't wait to tell you why you're wrong. No.
What else do we have here? Yakuza, Like a Dragon. Yeah, Yakuza's been around forever, has a very loyal following. This should be really cool. But Battlefield 2042 is where I saw a lot of people like really talking about this showcase. Are either of you guys really big Battlefield people?
I get why people are so stoked about Battlefield 2042.
Mm-hmm.
Right? Like, people have been just struggling through Call of Duty after Call of Duty. And, like, I think it's because it's the only thing that's, like, scratches that very specific first-person shooter itch they have. Even though Call of Duty has, I mean, in my opinion, been going downhill for a while. So I think Battlefield 2042 is, like, the first, like, breath of fresh air from this endless cycle of Call of Duty games. And, like, it's, like, something that a first-person shooter fan can actually look forward to. So I get why the hype is here for first-person shooter fans.
Yeah, I totally agree. I 100% agree. But it's not to say that Battlefield doesn't look like it held up pretty well in the showcase. The demonstration of how the game works was excellent. I mean, that's really what Battlefield comes down to, is like a more true form of what Call of Duty is supposed to be, but isn't, because they felt like they needed to rehash a new fucking game every year.
Well, they make oodles of money every year. You can't blame them.
Yeah.
You make a good point.
Like, it's just, that's part of, like, just why you want competition and you don't want monopolies. Is like, once there's a monopoly, like, you're gonna get stagnant. It's inevitable. Like, you need someone to compete and push you.
Right, I agree.
That's just my 2 cents.
So what else do we have here? I mean, not that there was a shortage, because, again, these guys absolutely killed their showcase.
I think 12 minutes.
Yeah.
12 minutes. I think this game looks really interesting.
You just like Daisy Ridley, but keep going.
Hey, my crush for Daisy Ridley has a little bit to do with this, but that's beside the point.
What a coincidence. My crush on Willem Dafoe also drove by.
I see, a man of culture.
But no, this is like, it's a time loop mystery game, you know? Like, you're trying to figure out why you keep reliving the same day, or not even the same day, like the same 12 minutes of time. And, you know, you got to do something differently to try to break out of the time loop. And honestly, it's a really interesting concept that you don't see very much. Like, I think you see it in, I think the game is called, like, The Outer Wilds. I think that's the first game that really explored, like, the time loop as a, like, concept for storytelling.
Right.
And now we're sort of seeing it with Deathloop, which keeps getting delayed, but it's doing a similar thing as well in a different way. And this game is taking that concept but playing it differently. It's not playing it as like a shooter, or to be honest, I haven't played Outer Wilds. I just know what the deal with it is, so I don't know how the game plays. But this game is playing it like as a top-down mystery, and you're trying to figure out what the G dang heck is going on. And I like it. They got Daisy Ridley and Willem Dafoe to voice act in this. I mean, if that doesn't tell you that this game is going to be like narratively driven, I don't know what else could. I'm looking forward to this.
You're absolutely right, and God knows I love a story-driven game. Psychonauts 2. Czar hit this one on the head.
This was the most obvious, right? Like, I don't want to say most obvious. I think
I don't know.
What we'll get to later is the most obvious. Because they already announced that this was like a thing that was coming soon.
Okay, you're right.
This just told us that it was coming extremely soon. Like, this is coming in August, guys.
Mm-hmm.
Like, god damn, that is coming up fast.
Yep, you're absolutely right. Nobody saw that coming. Like you said, you're right. We knew it was happening, but we did not anticipate it literally being only like half a month, half a year away.
Exactly. So great. Psychonauts 2 is huge. Love that you guys are getting a second installment after a fuckload of time.
Fallout 76. Am I the only one who carries the opinion of who the hell cares?
Nope.
So
thank you, Zach.
I don't mean to keep disagreeing on these ones, but it's simultaneously cool and lame that they are trying so hard to fix Fallout 76, because I don't think these DLCs are going to cost anything to the people playing. Like, they are trying so hard to make Fallout 76 work, and I can appreciate that. And the pit takes us to a place where the Fallout 3 DLC was, so that's cool. I wish they would maybe give some of the people who still play Fallout 76 like a good refund, and then move on to the next thing.
Damn, Ches.
I mean, come on, man. Fallout 76 was garbage. Even by, Bethesda standards, that game did not work.
It didn't work, but I can appreciate that they went with, like, they're trying to fix it to make it work so the people who paid money for it get their money's worth out of it.
Well, you have to assume it's doing decently well. They're going to keep pouring stuff into it like it is.
I mean, yeah, I don't think it's that it's doing well. I think that it's that, like, Fallout is one of Bethesda's babies, and they dropped this baby. and they're just trying to put it back together.
They've been taking it to the doctor over and over again, adding new parts to it to see if they can fix it. But the baby just comes out as this deformed mess.
We have the technology. We have the money.
Yeah.
We'll keep trying.
Yeah, exactly. But for what it's worth, Ches is right. I do appreciate that they're trying to be like, okay, yeah, we messed up, and instead of making this paid for DLC, we're going to give you guys these free updates to hopefully make your money worth it.
This isn't even like the first time they've done this. Like, they've been updating this game for a while. I still don't think the game is anywhere near what it was supposed to be.
All right, what's next?
So we can kind of skip over this. They hyped up ESO a bit. Elder Scrolls Online is coming to Xbox. Blah, blah, blah. Who cares?
I downloaded it. It's a game.
Yeah.
It feels like Elder Scrolls. It's got a lot of microtransactions from what I can tell. I was like, ooh.
To go through a couple more smaller things, party animals. Ches wrote that it looks like Gang Beasts.
This is Human Fall Flat?
Yep.
So this is like a quote unquote fighting version of Human Fall Flat. It's like it's kind of physics based fighting. You just try to throw your friends out of a ring to win, be the last one standing.
It does look like fun.
Looks really cute.
But not a lot to say on it.
Hades is coming to Xbox. A little late to the game, but Hades is still pretty hot, so fair enough.
Nice. That was good, JP.
Yeah, that's a good pun there, buddy.
That's a good dad joke for Father's Day.
Oh yeah, happy Father's Day. I love you, Dad. Somerville looks like a walking sim, so obviously these three yahoos are not going to play it, but I will. I genuinely thought it looked interesting.
Not my cup of tea, but
You hit the nail on the head, JP. It's JP. JP is the audience.
That's JP. Yeah. This game was made for JP. I hope they write that at a note at the beginning of the game for JP.
Which JP will never see because he doesn't own an Xbox.
Isn't that the irony? I'm hunting. All right. My goal is by the end of August to have the Series S. That is a genuine goal of mine. All right. Who wants to hype this next guy up? Because it's about time.
I guess I will, because I think I've probably sunk more time into Halo than most of you guys.
The only one who could compete with you is Czar, but you've definitely got me and Zach beat.
Yeah, so Halo Infinite, I mean, we finally...
That's Xbox guy.
Yeah, we don't have our Xbox guy here. It's unfortunate.
It really is, because how often do we get to talk about Xbox?
Not often, and I mean...
positively, too. Like, wow.
Pour some of that White Claw out for Czar.
Pour the White Claw, boys. Not sponsored by White Claw, but we are trying to be.
Yeah, of course. Trying to be sponsored by literally anything. Halo Infinite, this is arguably the biggest game they showed. And the especially huge thing they showed is free-to-play multiplayer.
Mm-hmm.
And then you can, if you want to spend $60 on the game, then you can, like, that's where the story is going to be. But free-to-play multiplayer is huge.
Mm-hmm.
Like, that is such a draw to a game and, like, helps increase your audience by so much. That also means this game is going to be littered with microtransactions, but...
Didn't they say that to get the best skins, like, you have to earn it? Like, that was the only way that you do it? Like, there was the whole gameplay thing?
I don't know if they said that explicitly. I hope that's the case, because, I mean, I love, like, getting cool cosmetics through my time spent in game. I think that's the best way to do it. But I am a bitter old man that has seen too many microtransaction-ridden games to hold out hope that that's going to be the case.
Yeah, I'm with you. I'm waiting for the catch.
Yeah.
But I want to also just mention real quick that, like, the multiplayer looks like Halo, like, how it's supposed to be. And it looks incredible. It looks so much fun. Like, this looks like the game that I used to play back in, like, middle school and high school and have a blast with. I'm super excited to see the multiplayer coming back. And, I mean, the story mode, there's not a lot that we can go off of. Some people are disappointed that there's a new, not as hot AI like Cortana. But, you know.
Okay.
Maybe Cortana's going to show up and she's going to be just as hot as ever.
But if that's a genuine complaint, then you're a neckbeard that needs to shut up. I mean, come on. Like, I'm all for the irony of...
I mean, I agree with you.
I'm all for the irony of the joke, but if that's a genuine complaint of yours, come on. Like, come on,
I absolutely
dude.
agree with you.
Gets us into the 2K thing a little bit, but we'll say that for later.
And I don't want to dilly dally too long on Halo. This is huge. I cannot express enough, like, just how much the next title in a Halo series is, and it's coming holiday 2021, free to play multiplayer. Who knows what the story is going to be? I'm into it.
All right. Diablo 2 remaster. Extremely hype, but we did see this coming as well. Plague Tale Requiem looked pretty freaking good in my opinion too. Far Cry 6, again, we had a little bit of news, but nothing that we didn't see already from the Ubisoft trailer, but still very, very hype. Now, this next one I was not expecting. What did we get, Peaches?
Dude, we got Slime Rancher 2, baby!
We got Slime Rancher 2, dude! What? I was not expecting that.
What is a Slime Rancher for the uninitiated?
For the uninitiated game tea sipper. So... in the crudest way, I was actually assigned Slime Rancher 2 in our Blind Date episode we did a couple months ago. And I really, really enjoyed it. Essentially, the premise of Slime Rancher is you are a person on a faraway planet where you capture these slimes and you take them back to your farm and you put them in their little pins and you feed them what you need to feed them in order for them to give you these things called plorts. Plorts are essentially their poop, which you can sell for money. And the goal of the game is to collect as many unique plorts through the slimes as you can. And there is a little bit of a story to it, but it's not crazy. But it is fun. It's a very therapeutic type game for those that are, you know, in the middle of Doom Eternal or Demon Souls or whatever the fuck it is. And you need a little something to cool down.
Dark Souls hurt me.
Yeah, Zach, I know it did, buddy. Are you okay? Do you need some Slime Rancher too?
I haven't beat it yet, JP. It
I
just
know
keeps going.
Do you need a hug? Because Czar gives great hugs.
Thank you, Czar.
Did you just offer a hug from Czar and not yourself when you're sitting right there?
That is correct.
And JP doesn't love me. It's fine. I know.
Zach, I love you. I just don't like you. I'm just kidding. Please don't be. I'm just kidding. I'm sorry.
Sensitive.
I know you are. That's why I'm
He's
sorry.
in the middle of Dark Souls. Why would you say that to him?
I'm fragile.
Okay.
Anyway, Slime Rancher 2, the difference is we saw a lot of new kinds of slime. We saw a lot of different kinds of landscapes. So it looks like, in my opinion, what they're probably going to do is have this, kind of have the plot of this game on a completely new planet where it's like, oh yeah, there's just completely new slimes to collect. But the same premise is probably going to be exactly there. And in my opinion, that's perfectly okay. Slime Rancher is a very excellent game. I think a lot of people are going to get a kick out of it. I know I'm going to pick it up despite the fact that I kind of got my fill of the first Slime Rancher. Yeah, I think everybody should be super excited about it.
And plus, the first one was like $20. I mean, that's a deal.
Yeah, it's for what you get out of it, I'd say that the value is certainly there. We'll see how much Slime Rancher 2 costs, but I can't imagine it'd be any worse than the first one. Peaches, fire off a couple more.
All right, so Shredders, it's a snowboarding game. I don't know, kind of reminded me of what was the one? Steep?
SSX Tricky.
Or sure, that one too. I mean, I haven't been into this type of game in a while, but I'm sure the audience is out there. Atomic Heart. This one I liked a lot. This one like gave me like some cyberpunk vibes. It gave me some Control vibes. It gave me some Fallout-y vibes. I am really excited to see where this game is like going, what it's going to be. This one I think is like a sleeper one to keep your eye on.
What's selling you on this?
On Atomic Heart?
Yeah.
The things I just said, the cyberpunk vibes, the Control vibes, and the Fallout vibes. I mean, those are three games that I ultimately enjoyed. I mean, Control less so. I wasn't able to finish it, but I enjoyed what I played of it. And Fallout I love, and Cyberpunk I also love. But like, this game doesn't look like it plays like any of them. From what I could tell, it looks like they showed us like not a like pre-rendered cinematic, but it looks like it's like actual like raw gameplay from the game. So I'm into it. You know, that's kind of showing me that they don't need to like hide behind these pre-rendered cinematics, but we are spending a lot of time. So I want to kind of keep us trucking along. Replaced, it was like a side scroller arcade looking game with some kind of okay looking combat. I mean, I don't have a lot to say on it. It wasn't my cup of tea. Grounded updates coming. Spooky spiders. I don't know if I can handle it.
Oh, Jesus. I love how they also presented the blocky mode, like if the arachnophobia mode is what they called it, which in my opinion was almost as terrifying, if not more so.
Absolutely agreed. I can't handle it.
This thing could be anything.
Yeah, right.
Anyways, so grounded updates coming. Great. You know, the game needs some more content added to it. This is good. That's free. Among Us updates, they're adding like a new mode. There's going to be a 16-player mode. There's going to be a hide and seek mode. Again, that's just like, who knows 16 people that you can play video games with. That's a lot of people. It's going to be hard to get a group together. But it's cool that they're adding it. I don't know if I can pronounce this correctly. Ayuden Chronicles Rising and 100 Heroes. It looks like a Octopath Traveler game. Not into it. It's dumb. I hate it.
Wait. Octopath Traveler? What?
Yeah, no, I was pretty excited for this one, to be totally honest. Ayuden Chronicles, I should have practiced this. Rising and 100 Heroes, and Ches. Octopath Garbagger. I love it. Yeah, no, it just gave me really cool vibes. Like, just nice, casual JRPG coming to Game Pass. Like, I'm excited. Did they say if that was an exclusive?
I don't know if it was exclusive. I think they said it was just coming to Game Pass.
Yeah, I think that's what I'm most excited for. A free JRPG. Like, yes. Yeah. Sorry, I say free. It is $15 a month, but
we've got just a few more things to get through.
And a few of them are big. So there's the Ascent. To be honest, I had no idea what I was looking at when I watched this game. Do you guys have any thoughts on it?
Nope.
Age of Empires 4. This is actually pretty big. I know Age of Empires is like a very beloved game among strategy fans. So congrats on getting your 4th installment, and we'll see how well it is reviewed. I don't imagine that it's going to be bad. They've had a good amount of time to work on it. Outer Worlds 2, this one was huge, but again, it was just a cinematic. You can't really take anything from that. flight simulator that's coming to Xbox, and they're going to have a Top Gun expansion where you can fly some Top Gun planes in the flight simulator on Xbox. Cool. Not for me. Fucking 15 minutes of Forza Horizon 5.
You were so mad.
I was
you and
so
Zara
mad.
were like, come on. I was like, Forza's huge, guys.
I like Forza. I think it's really cool.
I do not do the car games. Great graphics. It really was great graphics. I don't care about the car game.
Fair enough.
And Redfall, they closed with this one, and I can see why, because this one looks very good.
Very promising. Yeah.
It looks like Left 4 Dead, which apparently the genre of Left 4 Dead games is coming back. I don't know. But Left 4 Dead, but like the 4 characters have like each have their own like specialized power that's supposed to help you through like these waves of vampires. And I'm into it. Definitely something to keep your eye on.
It was like Overwatch combined with zombies and vampires. It's kind of my vibe.
Yeah, I absolutely love it.
I'm just hoping they don't go Blizzard on us.
Fingers crossed.
And is that it for Bethesda and Xbox?
I think I got us through Bethesda and Xbox, and we are like 40 minutes in, and we still got some ways to go.
Well, it's cool because I thought it was JP was being really hopeful when he said that there was a lot of good stuff at E3, because I was like, oh, huh. Because I thought the rest of E3 was boring, but that's my opinion, and I'm ready to hear what JP thinks, because he likes Square Enix, which is not the mindset I've been getting from people.
Square Enix is like a IPA beer. It's an acquired taste. Anyway,
I love Square Enix.
let's talk about the Square Enix showcase, okay? It wasn't fantastic. Especially in the middle, it pissed me off, and I will explain to you guys why here in a minute. But for the most part, I think that they also had some really good looking stuff in there. A lot of stuff that's promising or really cool. Let's start off with the big one. Guardians of the Galaxy reveal trailer. So let's start off with what looks great about it. It looks badass. It looks like the character models are awesome. It looks like they're doing completely original new stories, and the world looks really good. I think that there's a lot of potential for this to be excellent, but my question is, did these motherfuckers learn their lesson from the Avengers? That was literally the first thing that came to my mind is this just gonna be the Avengers again, where I'm super excited about this project, and then their execution is absolutely awful. What I'm hoping is that they learned their lesson, or at least that was my hope until I watched the showcase a little bit more.
Well, yeah, because it was like 35 minutes of this.
Exactly. That's just the thing is like they clearly want this to be really good because they showed a lot of gameplay, like 10 minutes of gameplay. And it really gives me faith from what I've seen that this is going to be good. I want to be optimistic about this project. And you know what? I have faith that they're going to deliver and that they did learn their lesson, because we cannot have another Avengers repeat. That would make me just absolutely livid. I don't know. I guess I see from the notes here that a couple of you guys disagree with me on kind of some of the gameplay, but I thought it looked like a little fun. Ches, what did you think?
I think Guardians, it makes sense why they would choose Guardians, because it's a very safe alternate to go to from Avengers, right? Like,
It is.
Which is absolutely hilarious that you're saying that, because, like, I don't know. Guardians was such a no-name until Marvel just made them huge.
Exactly. And like they're, I would argue, probably more beloved than the Avengers in a lot of circles.
Yeah, it's crazy. Sorry. Okay, that was just total tangent.
That's why I say that it's safe, is because like what James Gunn has done to like make Guardians relevant. And you know, obviously it's not just James Gunn working on his own. Obviously it's Marvel as a whole, but like James Gunn is the director. So it makes sense why they would go here. And I really feel that it doesn't look the same as what I saw when I saw like Avengers previewed at like E3 2 years ago.
Uh-huh.
So I think that either they learned their lesson or that this game was never intended to be similar to Avengers. Either way, I mean, fingers crossed, but I'm going to wait for reviews for sure on this one. Like,
Absolutely.
I'm never going to pre-order like a Square Enix Marvel game.
Absolutely. They really screwed up.
Yep, you guys are 100% right.
I think that's kind of like, it's awesome they spent 35 minutes on it, because it says like, hey, we're not quitting. Like, God, Chaz, you're like the biggest Marvel fanboy I know. So like, that hurts to say that Marvel game was like it's one thing to be like an average Marvel game. It's another thing to be like a bad Marvel game. And it's like they really screwed the pooch. It's all there for you. You just weren't creative enough to do it, I guess.
I don't even know if it was a creativity problem as much as a absolute failure of execution.
I totally 100% agree on that, Ches. On the other hand, like I said, I want to stay optimistic about this Guardians of the Galaxy project. Let's move on to a couple other things.
You said you were like looking forward. I just want to like help me through this. Like, it's basically kind of like you get to pick who you're siding with. Like, you get like some decisions that affect your relationships with the Guardians of the Galaxy. Like, they made things about selling Groot or not selling Groot. And then like, it just seemed more like decision based and more of like, I don't know.
So they're not going full Telltale in the way decisions are made. Like, I don't think what you do in this game, they didn't make it seem like those shorthand decisions are going to be that impactful. And I can't really tell if they want them to be or not, to be completely honest with you.
Cool, because that's kind of me too. I was like sitting here watching that and watching the fight, and I was like, what kind of game is this? Like, I watched this thing for 40 minutes and I still left like, wait, what am I doing?
So, yeah, I'm not getting full Telltale vibes. At the same time, it's kind of almost giving off more of a Knights of the Old Republic type vibe where, like, yes, there are decisions, but ultimately, like, it's got a different way of affecting the gameplay, maybe. Because, I mean, that's kind of who the Guardians of the Galaxy are in the first place, right? Is, like, they're kind of, like, these rebels, and, like, I think that the idea of who these people are, along with the idea that you get to kind of make these big decisions to help the gameplay, actually is going to complement each other really, really well. The only big question is how much is it going to affect the gameplay? And I don't know the answer to that question. We got a lot of stuff to keep going on with the Square Enix, so Guardians of the Galaxy is kind of a let's just see what happens type of thing. Okay. Up next, Final Fantasy 1 through 6 Pixel Remasters coming to Steam and mobile. Obviously I don't give a shit about mobile, but that is a theme you are going to find a lot in the Square Enix showcase. But I am very happy about the Pixel Remasters for Final Fantasy 1 through 6. Despite the fact that there were 6 games, Final Fantasy VII is probably the most popular Final Fantasy game ever made. When it originally came out for the PlayStation 1, and then again when this remake just came out last year. So I'm very excited for people who either loved those first 6 games and now get a chance to replay them in an updated fashion, or people who fell in love with Final Fantasy later and haven't had the opportunity to go back to those first 6 games yet. Because let me tell you, when I got the NES Classic, I tried to play the first Final Fantasy for shits and gigs, and it's fucking rough.
It is.
Even by NES standards. Like, Square called it Final Fantasy because they literally thought it was the last game they were ever going to make because they were about to go under. And then it saved them. And they're like, oh shit, we got to keep making more of these now.
We like money.
Money. But yeah, I'm excited for that. Not so much that it's going to mobile because who cares, but it is also going to be available on Steam, so that's what's important.
No consoles though, so people were kind of upset about that.
Yeah, and I found that really weird too, that it's just going to be a Steam-only release. In my opinion, that's probably going to be a for now deal. I think it's probably going to be released for console down the road. I don't know why they're doing it Steam first, or maybe Steam exclusive, but I don't know. Even if all you have to work with is a shitty laptop, it should be enough to run these games, to be honest with you. I mean, they're going to be pixely. Up next, Legend of Mana. This is a cool announcement that is coming to Switch, PS4, and Steam. As far as what the game is, though, what's funny is that we've actually gotten tons of information about this from past Nintendo Directs, so there's not a lot of new information I can add. What I can say is that it appears to have just this really solid following of people that have been wanting these remasters for quite some time, and it's really cool that they're more accessible, but it's not necessarily like groundbreaking news.
Yeah, no, I think you hit the nail on the head there. I saw the Legend of Mana thing, and I just instantly was like, kind of wanting to skip it.
Up next, Marvel's Avengers. What's funny is right when I saw Guardians of the Galaxy, I was like, wow, I hope these guys learned their lesson from Avengers. And then I watched this part of the showcase and I was like, nope, they didn't fucking learn. Apparently they're on this quote unquote roadmap of DLC that I haven't been aware of until now, which is funny because it's the fourth release of the 5 that were planned. And I just literally gave so little of a shit after I saw how awful this game was that I didn't even know. So essentially, the 2021, what they've got next for DLC is going to be called Cosmic Cube, which is going to include, like, I don't know, a standard looking new mission and mediocre fights. I'm just so unbelievably uninterested in Marvel's Avengers at this point that I don't really care what they do, because if any of the other DLC was really that prominent in saving the game from being mediocre, I feel like I would have heard about it more.
At least the DLC will be free. Like, I honestly was not picking up on this trend until, like, we've now mentioned, like, what, 3 games? 2 games that, you know, shitty releases, you know, they try to improve it with free DLC. Are like, is this going to be a trend in gaming? Because we had it with the Hello Games and No Man's Sky. I mean, they tried with Anthem, and that it did not work, and they scrapped. Now Anthem is kind of scrapped, and they're done working on it. We are seeing it with Fallout 76, and we are now seeing it with Marvel's Avengers. So, of trends in gaming, this ranks up there with, you know, free to play, but just ridden with microtransactions to the point of me fucking hating it.
Yeah, I don't know. It's again one of those things where I want to stay optimistic, but I have a lot more reason to do that with Guardians of the Galaxy than I do with any of the Marvel Avengers DLC. We'll wait and see how it is, but like I said, if the last 3 pieces of DLC didn't make this game playable, I can't imagine why this one would be. But I'll tell you what, I did actually perk up a little bit when they released the expansion Black Panther War for Wakanda.
Yes.
That looked like it might actually help out the game a little bit. I thought that looked pretty cool from what they gave us.
This is the one thing that worked out. Like I was telling Peaches, like I'm mad they didn't do like Tony Stark with Robert Downey Jr. But like with Chadwick Boseman being gone, like this would be a good way to like kind of like get people to seeing like Black Panther in a different light, I guess.
I mean, there's a whole different conversation. You're right, Zach. There's a whole different conversation that can be had about these actors that we know and love these characters from coming back to perform those characters in the video game world.
Well, hold on. I gotta pause right there. The actors that play the characters in Avengers are in no way associated to the Avengers game, and they are very explicit about that.
That is exactly what I'm saying.
Okay,
is that
I thought you were saying that they are reprising their role.
No. None of them wanted to return. There's a reason why none of them look like the Avengers we know and love. It's because Scarlett Johansson doesn't want to be associated with the video game form of her character. Neither does Chris Evans, neither does Robert Downey Jr., neither does any of them.
Okay, well, that's also wrong.
Then why aren't they there?
It's not that they don't want to be associated with the video game version of their character. It's that they're done with their character as a whole. Robert Downey Jr. didn't want to be Iron Man anymore. Chris Evans didn't want to be Captain America anymore. And Johansson, I don't think, wants to be Black Widow anymore. Like, it had nothing to do with, like, not wanting to be in a video game specifically. It had them being done with that character as a whole.
Okay, well, I don't care about that. I don't care. Because the point is that, like... The point is that these characters are who they are because of the way they were written. The way that they were performed by these actors, yeah, that's the icing on the cake and that's what brought them to life. But that doesn't mean that you can't have good versions of these characters through other actors and other means. You know, like so many people were disappointed when Iron Man didn't look like Robert Downey Jr. And in my opinion, you having that expectation that they should look like Robert Downey Jr. makes you a little bit a part of the problem.
No, that's fair. I think that, Iron Man is eventually going to be filled by another actor in a different role, you know, or not a different role, another actor playing that same role.
Yeah, you're totally right, and that's all I'm saying.
Yeah, so I mean, it's fine that brand new people are playing these guys. War for Wakanda, just to get us back on track, because I definitely derailed us because I couldn't let my inner Marvel speak out there.
On a side note, you should genuinely think about starting a movie podcast. I think you'd be very good at it. I'm not going to be your co-host, no way in hell, but absolutely fucking not. But you should think about starting it.
Chess has lots of good taste.
He does.
So does JP.
I have a lot of hot takes.
Hey,
is what I got.
all right. Now what's next, JP? What's next? Square Enix me.
Hitman, Snipers, The Shadows. Nothing crazy, but looks cool, is all I had to say about that. This type of project is not something Square Enix does, so it's up in the air on whether or not this is going to be good. But I will say from what we saw in the trailer, it looked okay. I think it looks like it has promise, but that's really all we can say about it because it was literally up for like 10 seconds. All right, now this part of the showcase is where you're going to see a very annoying trend. Nier Reincarnation. It's a mobile game only. Enough said. That's literally my notes. Mobile, enough said. And then Final Fantasy, War of the Visions. Mobile. A mobile game. A Final Fantasy game for mobile. Yeah. Fuck that. Why? And then Final Fantasy VII. The most important, arguably the most important Final Fantasy game in all of the Final Fantasy games is getting like this direct sequel or prequel or whatever called The First Soldier only on mobile. Why are they doing this? I don't understand.
I have a theory.
Okay.
Money. It's you can make so much money off mobile gamers because like if they're not there's like something in your head where it's like I didn't spend money on this game, and so it's okay if I buy like just a little bit of like this currency here to get this for my guy, or this I could spend a little bit here because I didn't spend $60 on this game, so it's fine if I spend this much money on it. And so it's a lot easier to make money off of these mobile gamers.
Right, but your average mobile gamer isn't going to view Final Fantasy VII The First Soldier the same way that they view Flappy Bird or, I don't know, Candy Crush. Like, this is a game that you're specifically going to be looking for because you're a fan of Final Fantasy. And that is why them putting it on mobile is absolutely baffling to me. I don't know. Am I wrong?
I don't agree with the move to put all sorts of games on mobile, like specifically, but I just if they're making it for mobile, to me that screams half-baked game.
Screams they just want money to me. I'm with you, Jay. I don't know. I just don't think there's a lot of love put into mobile games. I think for the most part, people just make mobile games to make money, which at the end of the day, you make games to make money, I'm sure, but like it's just a lot more gratuitous, maybe. That's what I'm trying to get at.
I completely agree. Okay, Babylon's Fall. Now, this game looks extremely promising, and obviously Square Enix thinks so too, because a very large portion of their showcase was about Babylon's Fall. So, there's not a whole lot that we got in the first part of the trailer. They did a little bit of explaining, but to be completely honest, even through the explaining of the world and the story, I was still confused about those parts. I mean, and I don't think it's their fault. I think they're really working on a huge project here, and they just didn't have enough time to go over like this lore and this world building that they've done for Babylon's Fall. Here's what I do know. Art style looks incredible. The fighting, oh my god, that fighting looks amazing. So fluid. The gameplay, incredible. I think it's going to be a big hit just on that alone. Even if the story is kind of subpar. I mean, like, the fighting can sometimes make up for that. I think this might be one of those. I think they're looking for this to be a huge IP.
I actually have some thoughts on the fighting in this. You know how in God of War, when you hit something, like you can feel the weight of your attack, and like you can like see your enemy kind of react to your hit?
Yes.
When I watch the gameplay and like the fighting in this game, it's what I call, I don't know if this is like, I'm sure this is not an industry term for it, but I call it like slapping a meat puppet. Like you're hitting this enemy over and over again, and it doesn't feel like your attacks have weight because you can't even see the enemy responding to it. Like they just are standing there as if like nothing was happening to them anyways.
It's not like, well, a meat puppet might be another term for it, but like just a bullet sponge.
Sure, yeah, kind of. But it's like, you're hitting this person over and over and over again, and nothing.
Sure. I don't want to tell you you're wrong, but sure.
And like it doesn't look like they're even kind of responding to it, so it feels like your attacks don't have weight and blah 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 blah. But on the bright side, you can jump.
To be honest with you, Peaches, I didn't really see it that way, and I understand where you're coming from. My stupid gamer brain was more like, oh my god, look how flashy and fun the attacks look. I mean, flashy and fun is only good on the surface level. I mean, the truth is, you're right. If I don't feel like those attacks have weight, then it's going to get repetitive and old. But if they do, which was hard to tell from the trailer, then I think you've got a really solid game on your hands.
Yeah, and I like I said, the game isn't out yet, and so what I see in the trailer isn't necessarily true. It's just, in this 3-minute trailer, this is what it looked like to me.
Besides, I'm most excited to talk about what's up next in the Square Enix showcase. Well, that's not true. Life is Strange Remastered Collection. It's exactly what it sounds like. It's Life is Strange, the first game, and then Before the Storm, which is a separate game that's a prequel to the first game. Here is what pisses me off, and I know you two are not going to know what I'm fucking talking about, but maybe Travis will. What the hell? Where is Life is Strange 2? Why have they completely swept Life is Strange 2 under the rug? I would argue that Life is Strange 2 is way more gut-wrenching than the first two games were. Maybe not Before the Storm. Before the Storm had its moments, but Life is Strange 2 hit me so hard, profoundly, in the feels department. And I feel like Square is like trying to get rid of this game, and I don't understand why. Why are they not including Life is Strange 2? They put this work in. It would probably be just as hard to like update this as it is the other two. I don't understand why they're not doing that. Especially considering Life is Strange 2 is only like a year older or a year younger than Before the Storm. I don't get that.
I don't know enough about the series. We really should get Travis back on to talk about some of this game stuff with us, because I think he'd have some interesting takes, but I don't know enough about Life is Strange specifically to add anything to this.
I'm just going to, honest to God, I'm just going to message him after this. I want to rant about that with him.
Travis, Square Enix hurt my feelings. There, JP. Travis is here.
No, Travis is always there for me. All right, now here's the good news. Life is Strange True Colors, which is the next game in the Life is Strange series, looks like it's gonna be really, really good. We've already gotten some gameplay. We didn't really get a lot out of the Square showcase that we didn't already know about Life is Strange True Colors. That being said, I really, really like what I've seen from the game so far. I think what I really like about Life is Strange is like the strangeness of the powers. They're not generic powers, like Alex Chen's ability essentially is that like it's like some type of weird like empath ability where like emotions to her, like she can see people's emotions, and it's gonna be really weird to see how that plays out.
So she's sensitive.
Yeah. Essentially, she's just built different. She's a Leo.
Oh God, no!
Not a Leo. I'm a Taurus.
No, oh God, no! I'm a Ophiuchus, but
I'm a Capri Sun.
Well, no, I actually named a real one, but no one talks about it because it's what I'm not. It's not what this is about. You're describing that her powers as like an empath. Is that right? Is that the right word? Like she can feel other people's emotions.
People's emotions give off like a visual aura to her. And I feel like the way that's going to work out in gameplay, because the whole mystery she's trying to solve is who killed her brother, apparently, or how did her brother die? I think it's like her brother died, but she suspects that it was of malicious intent by somebody else in this town. So I'm guessing that the empath mechanics in the game are going to have something to do with like trying to see when people are telling you the truth. I don't know. I don't know exactly how it's going to work out yet, but I do think it looks interesting.
Hopefully it works out better than that. What was that one detective game where like you had to try to see if someone was lying by like looking at their facial expression?
Oh my God, the memes from that are so good.
I'm sure it'll work out better than that.
So that's basically it. We didn't get anything new for Life is Strange True Colors, really, but seeing this trailer did still make me excited for it. Very last thing Square Enix gave us was
I'm here to kill chaos.
Oh yeah, this was the trailer where they just kept saying chaos. Oh my gosh, yeah.
I thought they were memeing me because they did it like 8 times. 8 times they said,
Oh.
I'm here to kill chaos. I'm like, who's chaos? I'm going to kill chaos. And they just kept going. And then the big scary knight goes, you're here to kill me? I'm chaos. And I'm like, no fucking way. I didn't know it was a bad translation or what, but they just kept going. I was like, no way.
Chaos. It's like, is this a meme?
Hey, look, not everyone can be as good at writing dialogue as BioWare, all right?
All right.
But no one can be like Tommy Wiseau levels of bad. They just kept going. They just kept... All right, I'm good. Sorry,
Oh my
you can go.
No, I'm glad. I'm really glad you brought that up because I was thinking the same thing, but I thought it was just me. I'm like, I feel like they're saying chaos a lot. I'm chaos. Oh, that was good.
He's gonna kill you, dude. You better be careful.
Okay, Final Fantasy Origin Stranger Paradise. It looks great, but I don't give a shit about this until I see where Final Fantasy 16 is, because I am really looking forward to that game. And I want to make sure you motherfuckers are still working on that. You're doing everything for Final Fantasy except working on the 16th game that you promised us with that trailer. So get with it, please.
I'll come in to check on your progress soon.
And that was it. That was the Square Enix showcase. Very below average. The parts of the showcase that I enjoyed were seeing things that I already knew about. I learned about freaking technically this came before the Nintendo Direct, but I learned about the remakes for Life is Strange from the Nintendo Direct. But I also felt like the Nintendo Direct did a better job of presenting that with like their cool little new art trailer. So I wasn't too impressed with that. We didn't get anything new about True Colors, besides like talking to the girl that does like the song, like the musician that does the song for True Colors, which I guess was kind of cool, but doesn't really do a lot for me as much as like learning about the game. Guardians of the Galaxy was cool. I'm optimistic, but that's not enough to save an entire showcase of mobile game ads and shit posting.
Now, I got a question. Is it still an elephant in the room if like a giant elephant is missing from the room? Because where the fuck was Final Fantasy VII 2-2?
That's another excellent question. That's really the question, is like, why are they wasting their time with these small potatoes that have to do with Final Fantasy when they've got Final Fantasy 16 in the works? And yeah, this new, like this addition to Final Fantasy 7 that people are actually really looking forward to. No, I don't know. That's a really good question. It's just like, I don't understand what they were trying to do with Final Fantasy in this showcase. If their goal was to make everybody who likes Final Fantasy mad, they did a great job.
Oh, I got it. They wanted to push the bar down as much as possible so that way when Final Fantasy VII 2-2 came back out, it could get the same reception as Final Fantasy VII Remake.
I mean, I've heard crazier theories.
Chaos? Is that you?
Sorry, I missed you. All right, I need to rest my voice.
We could probably speed through these next things.
Oh yeah, skeet through these as fast as you can, Chess.
Skeet,
because
skeet,
Zach,
motherfucker. Oh, sorry.
No, don't be sorry. That's exactly what I was thinking. Because Zach still has to talk about Nintendo.
All right, so Warner Bros. Honestly, not a lot. They showed some more Back 4 Blood. Again, Back 4 Blood is everywhere. The game looks great. I'm looking forward to it. PC gaming show, Orcs Must Die 3. I know people like this game. Not my thing. Far Changing Tide. Eve Academy website. Eve is such a complex game that they had to make a whole thing just to help people figure out how to play it. Gigabash, no thoughts. Vampire the Masquerade Swan Song. I didn't realize that Vampire the Masquerade was big enough to keep making games of it.
Me neither.
Tinykin. Yeah, Tinykin, no thoughts. Icarus, no thoughts. Again, like, if you like these games, feel free to tell me why I'm wrong and why these games are actually going to be sick. But not my, as from what I've seen, not my thing. Future Games Show. Indistinction, Eldest Soul, Lake. These are all separate games, by the way. Minute of Islands, Tales of Iron, Rune Factory 5, Immortality. I have no thoughts on any of them. It's just it's some indies that aren't up my alley. And me and Zach were right on the money with this one. 24 Entertainment brought Nakura Blade Point. Makes sense. It was the only game that was advertised on their website.
You guys did nail that. Good for you.
We research.
Yeah, we do research on this podcast. It's a legitimate podcast for legitimate people.
Yeah. So good job, me and Zach. Zach, day 3 was kind of, I don't want to say kind of, it was more your day than it was my day, but I will talk about Freedom Games when we get to it. You could take over from here.
No.
Okay.
No.
Take-Two didn't show. Yeah. All right. Well, he said no. No means no, GP. We respect consent here.
God damn it.
That's what I'm doing? Is my name on
this?
this?
You said no, so I'm going to take over.
No, I'll do it. Okay. So yeah, Take-Two literally came out of nowhere. And by that, like, they talked about a very important thing, and I'm more than happy to kind of read it word verbatim here. But basically, they talked about how corporations are responsible for bringing diversity, equality, and inclusion into the workplace.
Yeah, that was kind of a weird direction to go. I mean, it's not that I disagreed with them. It's just like,
absolutely amazing point, and we totally agree. But it just felt like a big 180. It just felt like a big 180 because we were all talking about games and new things coming out, and then here's this corporation giving us a corporate spiel about how they're going to be a good company, which is great. I want them to be a good company.
Exactly. It just came
out of nowhere.
I don't believe that they're going to be a good company, but
I don't believe.
Do lip service.
Exactly. It just seemed out of place. And in the light of what we've been doing, it just seemed a little out of place. Again, I agree with you. I think what you're doing is great, but
and so yeah, I think that's it, right? Did I get that? Did I do good?
Yep. You nailed Take-Two.
When we talk Capcom,
Capcom is more your thing than it is mine, but I just
Capcom's
don't care
easy.
about
I got this. Okay, let's listen here, guys. So Resident Evil Village came out. Big titty vampires.
Yes, a million times yes. Woo, I love that woman.
And so basically the director came out and he went, hey, guess what? Our game's selling boohoo cakes. Thanks. There's a DLC. It's not DLC coming. It's the Monsterverse, right? That's what it is. Do you know what the Monsterverse is, JP?
I don't know. I thought it was supposed to be DLC.
Maybe there is. Maybe I'm mixing. I think I'm mixing up Monsterverse.
Look, whenever they bring up Lady Dimitrescu or whatever her name is, I don't care what they're saying. I wasn't paying attention. I just want that woman to crush me with her thighs. That's all I want.
Yeah, I'm absolutely here for it.
Yes,
Agreed.
thank you, Ches. Ches gets me.
I'm on the thirst train with it now. I understand.
Oh yes,
it's a thirst train.
Me and JP are down bad, down catastrophically.
Oh, I have problems.
The next game they show was Monster Hunter Stories, which is getting really hyped up, which I'm glad for. I already pre-purchased the game, and I'm glad that I did. I'm excited to, again, play another game that's like Pokemon and hopefully can push this monster collecting thing to the next level. Because, I don't know, like Peaches said, I think many people have so over the time. Specifically Peaches, though. Pokemon can get kind of stale because they kind of do the same formula over and over and over.
Yes.
Times that by like 8 or 9 generations, yeah.
And so, yeah, any chance we get innovation, again, we don't want to monopolize that because that's what happens. It just keeps doing the same thing over and over. So, anyway, long story short, Monster Hunter Stories, it looks awesome. You are a tamer. You battle with, I believe, a starter Pokemon, but they're called Monsties in this game. And it'll be a good time.
Monsties.
It's super cute. Like, if you like animals, I think you're gonna ball into this game. And if you like Pokemon, you know you like animals. So
wait, hold on. Monster Hunter is pretty violent. Are these like monsty fights gonna like get gruesome? Because I don't know if I would be able to handle that.
Oopsie whoopsie! You killed my monsty wansty.
Huh.
I'm sorry. I don't know why I did that.
So there's a Monster Hunter Stories came out on 3DS and it was really good, and there was no talks about this. But honestly, Chaz, I don't think so.
Okay, like as long as like it's, I don't know what the word would be, but you know, Pokemon is okay because like even though it's violent, it's like, oh, I mean, sure, he just got hit by a extremely large bolt of lightning, but he's fine. He's just fainted.
Yeah.
So, you know, you can still be like, oh, yeah, no, I'm beating the absolute shit out of these things, but they're just fainted. It's fine. I don't got to worry about it. This doesn't weigh on my conscience because he's just knocked out.
Uh-huh. Yeah.
He's making a lot of sense.
I don't know. That's great. I guess I could do more research on that one. There's a demo coming on July 9th, so we can find out together. How about that?
All right, yeah, you stream it and I'll watch.
All right, I got you. Follow me at Dad Jokes. Oh, wait, what was my thing again?
Dad Jokes with Doggos or something?
Yeah.
Go watch Zach's stream, by the way. I'm going to retweet you on Game Tea, Zach, because his streams are awesome, and he's playing some good fucking games right now.
Yeah, he's playing some great games. He's great at interacting with his audience when they talk to him. So,
and I'll play games. I'll do polls, and then you guys come up with games to play, and I'll try and be funny. And I got Dad Jokes. I got a wheel now, and Ches loves the wheel.
I love the wheel.
The wheel.
And you know, he promised me Marvel races at some point. So,
okay. So next up is Monster Hunter Rise, a bunch of collaboration DLC. And Monster Hunter Rise is doing very well. Thanks for asking. They kind of just flexed the whole presentation. After that, oh no, sorry, I almost forgot this game. The Great Ace Attorney Chronicle. Yeah, it's Phoenix Wright, but British, and it's coming to the US for the first time. So people are excited about that, I think. It's not me, but if you like those kind of games, good for you.
Oh no, it's the Constables.
You're not wrong, and you're British, so you can get away with this.
I don't know if you watch internet comment etiquette, but you sound a lot like Novelberry.
Okay.
But anyways, let's continue on.
Let's get one thing straight. I'm kind of British. My mom was born in England, and my nana lives here. But, you know, I'm like you guys, okay? I dip my tea bag in my hot water one dip at a time. I'm no different than any other guy. Guys?
You guys drink tea?
Shut up. Anyway, it's good for your voice and it tastes yummy. What do you want from me? What do you want from me?
I want you to tell Zach to continue on to the limited run games after Ace Attorney.
That's kind of why I paused. The Great Ace Attorney Chronicle is coming to the United States the first time. And if you like Phoenix Wright, you'll like this. That's it for Capcom. In Take-Two. Your turn.
JP, do you want to take the limited run games? I mean, I watched these. This was just another thing. It's like a lot of indies that just weren't up my alley. I mean, I can just read them off real quick.
I can do the same thing because at least I've got a couple of dogs in the race here because everybody knows that I am a huge fan of indies. But even that being said, limited run, don't get me wrong, it was almost as if they were just coasting through on this because everything seemed moderately cool, but nothing sucked, nor did anything stand out, in my opinion. So, Axiom Verge 2 coming out, cool. Blood Rain Betrayal, Fresh Bites. Castlevania Requiem I thought was cool. Sympathy of the Night and Rondo of Blood. I think the name is kind of stupid, but...
Rondo!
Yeah, exactly. But Castlevania, I mean, I kind of wish Zora was here to talk about that too, because I do know that he's a big fan of Castlevania games. Contra, okay, Contra's cool. I can get behind the Anniversary Collection coming out for the Switch and PlayStation. Double Dragon and Kunio-kun Retro Brawler Bundle. No dog in the race there. Then we had Dusk, Ghoul Patrol, Going Under, Haven, and Hunt Down Collector's Edition that were just kind of like skidded by. Again, all things that looked moderately interesting. If you're into indie games, there's a couple of those that I think you'd be super into, but again, nothing that really stuck out. Then we had One Step from Eden, Plumbers Don't Wear Ties, which actually kind of looked good, and Republique Anniversary Edition. What I think about
Great pronunciation there.
Thank you.
Mwah.
I may be English, but my last name is French, so there you go. Retromania Wrestling. I don't know who asked for that, but here we are. RWBY Grim Eclipse. Skatebird. That looked somewhat interesting too. That's coming to Switch and PlayStation 4. Strife is coming to Switch. Super Hot is coming to Switch and PlayStation 4, kind of a day late, dollar short, but again, there you go. And The Takeover. So, if you haven't heard of any of those games that I just mentioned, you're not the only one. I think we need to appreciate the fact that even though we didn't hear of a lot of these games that came out of Limited Run, it's always cool seeing indie developers come to events like this, especially when you've got the big dogs who are also in this thing. You know, it can be a little intimidating, but at the same time, like, we all know how important indie developers are to this industry. So I am all about them coming here and showing these games. And if any of those sounded interesting at all to you, by all means, go check them out.
Reggie, is that you? Reggie.
And I'm handing this over to Ches because he was actually really excited about Freedom Games' presentation.
Yeah, okay. So this presentation, it went so under the radar, and it deserves a lot more limelight. They didn't have a ton of games to show like Xbox did, but what they did show fucking slapped, dude. Well, all of it except for the mobile game, but we'll get to that. So I think I'm pronouncing this right. Anushard. This one was a 2D action RPG. Had some really cool looking combat, and it had some puzzle solving, and it's going to be Xbox and PC exclusive. I think that this game was honestly like the first game where I was like watching a game that like takes place on like a 2D plane. I was like, holy shit, I could absolutely see myself getting down on this. Tower Rush, this is the dumb mobile game. Do not care even slightly about the mobile game. Sands of Aura. This one looks kind of like it reminded me of like an old it looks a little bit like Diablo in a way.
Oh, okay.
It was a top-down action RPG, and it says it has Souls-like combat. We all know how I feel about comparing yourself to Dark Souls if you're not in the Souls genre.
It's the Dark Souls of Dark Souls.
So but it looked like a lot of fun, and we'll just pretend like it didn't compare itself to Dark Souls. One Lonely Outpost. This one I especially like. This one I am calling it Space Stardew Valley. It's a game where you go on a spaceship, you find a like new colony, and you essentially are like building it up like you would in Stardew Valley, and you go raid dungeons and fight people like you do in Stardew Valley, except this time you do it in like a mech suit, it looks like. I'm all about it. I am absolutely hyped for this one, and I will get it day one. Dark Deity. This one was one of the iffier ones for me, but it I say it looks kind of weeby, so you know, it's like it looks like it's drawn in an anime type art style, but it has like turn-based combat. It kind of reminds me of like an older Final Fantasy kind of deal.
Oh, okay.
But it actually looked pretty cool. Slaughter League. This one just kind of looked like one of those party games you play for a night with your buddies and then never touch again, but you know, it doesn't mean that's not a good time.
Fair enough.
It was basically, this one was just, you know, like it was American Ninja Warrior, but you know, you could get hit by giant balls with spikes.
Sounds dangerous.
Sounds fun.
It's just one of the, you know, it's a game you pick up, play for a night, and probably don't touch again, but it doesn't mean it's not bad, or it doesn't mean it's bad. Next, To the Rescue. This one was a game where you essentially build a dog rescue, and you know, it's one of those type of games where like you own like this business, quote unquote, and you build it up and make it run well. And but in this one, you do it with a dog rescue, which, you know, cute. I like dogs. Dog rescues are a good thing.
Sure, but the premise of that as a game is very bizarre.
Sure, but that's why we get into the next game, Cat Cafe Manager.
Boo! I hate cats.
I'm gonna slap the shit out of you.
Do it.
This is just going to be like another one of those. It's a simulation management game where you're trying to make a profitable cat cafe, and you get to name the cats that are in your cat cafe.
Oh, I'm so fucking sold.
You can see in the notes here that this is probably going to be one of the top Game of the Year contenders. I think this is going to be the one to take it away from Ratchet and Clank. So moving on to the next one, I was hyping this one up a little bit before we started recording. It's called Koromon, and if you are noting that it sounds a little bit similar to Pokemon, you would be correct, because they are taking the Pokemon formula and doing it their own way. And I'm actually pretty excited for this one as well. I think if they can take that Pokemon formula and make a challenging and different enough Pokemon game, I am absolutely here for it. Someone needs to take the Pokemon formula and make it, like, recapture some of the magic that Pokemon has been losing over the years.
Now, that being said, I'm actually super curious about Coromon, because this isn't even the first Pokemon clone we've seen within recent times. Temtem tried to do the exact same thing last year. So, what are you hoping to see Coromon do that Pokemon does not do, Ches?
Okay, so I want to see Coromon kind of take the Pokemon formula and first, like I said, add some challenge to Pokemon, all right? I want Pokemon, but I don't want to be snoozing through the whole thing and like just trying to get through it so I could see some of the other cool Pokemon. And two, like they showed some like puzzle solving things in this game. I think if you add puzzle solving to a game, it actually, like, more often than not, as long as it's not like super out of place, it adds a lot of depth to the game and can like add a lot of enjoyment. And three, they also have some more customization than what's available already in Pokemon. And that's honestly a great thing. I don't know why Pokemon hasn't done this already. Like, it's so easy to just have custom like characters. And Pokemon's like, all right, here's, person A that has, I think, is it just boy and girl? In Pokemon, they don't have non-binary or anything like that, right?
That is correct. With Nintendo being as family friendly as it is, they're not willing to dive into that, or political correct culture we found ourselves in quite yet.
I could talk about that for a while, but it's whatever. You have Pokemon, like you have Pokemon Boy A with his hat, and then you have Pokemon Girl B with her hat. And like, how could you not have character customization? It's so simple. So yeah, those are just a few things that I would hope for at the very least from Coromon, and obviously new cool looking monsters I can catch in battle with, man.
Fair enough.
Don't give me set of keys Pokemon. Don't give me garbage Pokemon, all right? Give me real cool looking monsters to battle with.
I mean, I have a lot I could say about that, but I mean, ultimately what you're trying to say is you are correct. I have a lot of feelings about Pokemon.
So you're just trying to say that you want more customization of the character?
Customization of the character and a bigger challenge, more depth in the gameplay, which, you know what? Those are all incredibly fair critiques of Pokemon's current state.
But anyways, we don't want to get too hung up on Pokemon because this episode is already going to be an epic. And so lastly, we got I skipped over this one. Airborne Kingdom, I actually don't have a ton of thoughts on. It looked like an interesting little city builder, and the way they're adding depth to it is like you can have these added challenge mechanics to make it, keep it from getting stale. City builders are okay sometimes. I'm yet to see one that really holds my attention for a long amount of time, but that one might be the one. And lastly, this is another one I think everybody should keep their eye on, is Dreamscaper. This one is a roguelite RPG where you, every time you go into the dream world, you are like trying to survive and like fight through like what have you as long as you can. And then when you wake up, you are going to spend like the experience that you got while you were sleeping in town to try to take back into the sleep world and get further and eventually beat it. And from what I got from this, it looks very, very much like it's inspired by Hades, but not so much so that it's literally just copy pasting Hades. And honestly, I'm not going to lie, it made me want to go play Hades because I haven't yet.
First of all, if you haven't played Hades after how much I've talked it up, I don't even know why we're friends. Second of all, I mean, come on, man. It was on the...
In Peach's defense, he has played Mass Effect a lot. So at least he's getting work
I have
done.
300 some hours into Mass Effect.
But Hades came out last year, and Mass Effect just came out like this month.
J-Pleat, Dark Souls came out in 2011. And I'm just not
Fair.
getting to it.
That's a fair point. The games don't have an expiration date.
I have learned there's too many games in this world. Sometimes I'm just going to take JP's word and say, okay,
There
it's
are
a good
too
game.
many.
Oh my...
It didn't hook me for a
Yeah.
reason. That's all I'm going to say.
I will get to Hades eventually. To be honest, I've been waiting for a sale. And there's been like a 10% off sale that I've seen, but that's not enough of a sale for me to be like, all right, I needed to get this now.
You know what? That's fair. I'm waiting for Ratchet and Clank to go on sale before I pick that up, because God knows I don't have any goddamn money, but...
He's the man who says he's looking for an Xbox Series X.
I'm working on it. It's a work in progress. Get off of me.
We were very, very sidetracked. Dreamscaper looks really good. I'm looking forward to it. I think if you haven't seen the Freedom Games Showcase, absolutely check it out. This one went way too under the radar, and I do not know why.
We have the indies. We have some of the biggest showcases. We have one big guy to talk about left. Well, we've got two things to talk about left, but one big guy that was on day number 4. And Zach, I think the floor belongs to you.
Nintendo. Okay.
Well, that's it. Wrap it up, boys. Time to go. Roll credits.
All right, so they started out with the Smash Bros. Everyone called it. Everyone knew there'd be a Smash reveal. And what do you know? There's a Smash reveal. We have a new character. We have Kazuya, which is a character from Tekken in Smash Bros.
Now, Zach, how do you feel about this character?
Okay, let's be real. Super Smash Bros. Has like almost 80 characters in it at this point. The fact that I got Pyra and Mythra, I'm already on cloud 9. Like literally anything else they throw on now, I'm just like, please go for it. Why not? That's just free DLC. Not free DLC. I already paid for the DLC. But anyway, and so I think this is a really neat addition because we have Tekken, we have Street Fighter. Sorry, we being Smash Bros. Smash Bros has Tekken, Street Fighter. I'm missing a fighting game. It's really embarrassing. The Fist of Fury, King of Fighters,
Final Fury, Final Fighters, whatever. Yeah,
oh, yeah. It's a older generation fighting game. Not saying it's bad. I'm just saying it's older, so that's kind of why we don't know. And then, am I missing any? Did I say Street Fighter? I said Street Fighter, right?
Yes, indeed.
Okay. And so, like, I just think like the more fighting game representation you get, like that's really cool. I don't know. Part of me really hopes the last character we get is like Scorpion or Sub-Zero, and then I think you have like every big fighting franchise covered. Besides, like that's it. I think that's every big fighting franchise.
Oh, hold on. Is there Soul Calibur?
Oh, Soul Calibur. Yeah.
Isn't Soul Calibur already a conglomerate of fighters from different games?
I have no idea. I just know that it's another big fighting game. I know there's a bear in it. I think. Actually, is that the one with the bear?
No, that's Tekken.
Could you imagine a game? Ryu, a bear. Just as like a bear.
That's how Tekken is. Tekken's weird.
A bear.
And so I mean, I thought that was really cool. Just because of like the reason I stated, I was not very hyped for it. Other than that, like I'm not gonna probably play this character and just be like, ooh, neat. Okay, back to Pyra and Mythra. So I totally see where JP is coming from. Peaches. And did you have anything else to add?
Where's my Commander Shepard in Smash?
Fuck Commander Shepard. Where's Sora?
I'm really hoping they get Sora.
Where is Sora?
Who the fuck is Sora? I don't know who Sora is. That must be from one of those indie games you play.
Oh, jeez. He done do it.
Oh my god, I cannot believe you just said that.
He done did it to him. Okay, so I'm going to keep going just to avoid Peaches dying. Life is Strange Remaster Collection's coming to Switch. JP, you're probably not going to pick that up because you already have it. But there it is.
I mean, it's one of those things where I'm happy that people who wanted to play it but only own a Switch get to play it. I just think that's a very small number of people who are like, oh, I've been waiting for Life is Strange.
Yeah, because it's on PC too, right? Or is it Sony?
It's literally everything except Switch. Like, you can get this wherever you want. Here's what I will say, though. They had a very cool animated trailer that even Square Enix didn't do in their showcase that I really, really enjoyed. So good for Nintendo. I think that was really cool.
All right. And then, yeah, Life is Strange 2 colors.
Actually, it's true colors.
What the hell happened there?
I don't know who wrote 2.
I was going really fast. I was trying to keep up. This is like part of the direct that just kept going like quick, and I was like, "Oh my god, okay, we're going."
Zach did me a huge favor so I could finish playing Mass Effect 3.
Fair enough.
Sometimes I work. Sometimes I help. Guardians of the Galaxy is coming to Switch, and they actually said it's the cloud version, so that'll be kind of like Resident Evil 7's on the Switch too. It's the cloud version, so I just think that's a neat little thing that won't be very big, but we'll see. Maybe I'm wrong. So yeah, we've already talked about Guardians of the Galaxy a lot. Worms Rumble was a game that they were kind of pushing a lot. This kind of reminded me of like Ninjala, like just like one of these big games that like is free to play or free to start, and they want you to get into it. Other than that, it just kind of looked like a silly little like battle royale game. Just a bunch of worms trying to kill each other, right?
You know what's funny is, who I think is super into worms is Czar.
Yeah, Czar, I think he was hyped for this. Hopefully he was hyped.
Worms is it's pretty fun. I mean, again, it's one of those games I can't play for very long, but is Worms Rumble the battle royale Worms, or am I thinking of something else?
Yeah, it is.
I don't even know. Why does everything need a battle royale?
Worms Rumble has nothing to do with that worms that you're thinking of, by the way. It's not the one big spacesuit worms. It's just literally worms fighting each other. I believe. I don't think there's any connection.
Is it the classic Worms thing where like you're trying to get the other worms to fall into the water off the map? What have you?
Yeah.
Okay, yeah. No, it's a fun game. The older ones were right. This one probably will be about the same.
Oh. Yeah, I didn't know it was already out. That was a new game. That's awkward. Thanks, Ches. Save me some. All right. Astria Ascending, Dear Villagers. That's coming out. Neat. 2 Point Campus. It's already been talked about. Neat.
Am I the only one here who actually thinks 2 Point Campus kind of looks fun? I am, aren't I?
Everyone's advertising it.
No. I'm into it.
Are you into it?
2 Point Hospital, I've been like, I don't know why, but there's something about like these management simulation sims that really like draws me in. Like I've been looking at 2 Point Hospital more and more lately.
Interesting. Yeah, I'm excited about this one. But at the same time, Zach's right. It's like, neat.
And then they kind of did like this Nintendo Direct respected Super Monkey Banana Ball Blitz more than they respected Legend of Zelda. So.
Yeah, you're not kidding. You're not kidding.
They gave Super Monkey Banana Ball 1 and 2 like a highlight, a shout out, and there's Mania coming out on October 5th, 2021.
It was so sad.
We'll get to Zelda in a second, but I thought that was hilarious. I was like, wow, they're doing this? What are they going to do for Donkey Kong and Kirby?
I hate my life.
Nintendo is stupid sometimes. And so, yeah, I'm not a Monkey Ball fan. I know that like it was just a GameCube thing that just apparently a lot of people loved. I just missed the train, but
that was me, baby. I love a Super Monkey Ball.
Were you hyped for this, Chess?
No.
Okay, cool. All right, after that, I know this was exciting in the fact that this is what everyone wanted. It's Mario Party Superstars. They redid a bunch of I think it's actually just a bunch of boards. It's not just the N64. They redid a bunch of old boards from like Mario Party 1 through 6, I believe is the game that they cut off on. And there was a bunch of returning games, and it's compatible for the Switch Lite. So this was really big in the fact that like literally like when Super Mario Party came out, they're like, why did they just do this? And so they're like, okay, watch me. And they did it.
But what I wanted them to do was make this DLC to make the previous Mario Party that they made better, instead of a whole new game.
Yep, that is the thing I've been hearing the most is why is this a $60 separate game and not DLC for the game I already own?
And that is
exactly
hilarious that you say such a thing, because then I would say, what's the difference between Mario Party 2 and Mario Party 3?
They're both fun.
Added games?
They added a few new games. Did they not add in a few new games to Mario Party Superstars? Compared to Super Mario Party. I know it's not the same games. So like, I get what you're saying. I already bought Super Mario Party and I would totally love it. But if Nintendo can go ahead and sell this again for $60, you know they're going to do it.
Of course I know that that's the route that they're going to take. I just, come on.
And they've done it previously. Mario Party 6, 7, and 8, 9, and 10. They all, I think, 6 might have been on the GameCube. Was 7 the first one on the Wii? Anyway, like they all had the opportunity for DLC. They're like, nah, we're just going to make them pay another $60 because they're right. People will do it.
They will, but it's just like, it would be cool if Nintendo just, did a cool thing and not a $60 thing.
Yeah.
It's like, just be cool.
This is just rehashes of stuff that people have already paid money for in the past. Like, come on.
Yeah, that's what Nintendo does.
I bought all the Mass Effect games and all their DLCs for $60. All right, that's 3 full Mass Effect games. So like $20 a piece. You cannot tell me I'm going to get the same amount of content out of like a Mario Party game. Like even all of these Mario Party games doesn't have the same amount of content for like $60. But
can you play Mass Effect with your friends and get drunk doing it?
If they added the multiplayer back, yes.
Okay, but Zach, that's exactly why, despite me bitching and complaining like I always do, I'm still gonna buy this.
Oh yeah, no, and I'm upset too. Like I'm just trying to play devil's advocate here. Like I see why people are getting upset. I just think people are setting themselves up for failure because Nintendo has never done this. Never.
People are setting themselves up for failure before every Nintendo Direct.
Oh, I'm not even saying that you should get this as free DLC. I'm saying like release this as a $30 DLC.
Well, they've never done that either. Like I don't know. I guess they've done DLC before, but they've never done it for Mario Party. And Nintendo is just all sorts of funky.
I can appreciate you trying to play advocate.
Devil's advocate me, like, yes, this is a $20 DLC pack. That would make me like poop my pants. I would have been so much more excited. But
that would have been stellar.
I think at the end of the day, like, they're still a business. They're still trying to make tons of money. They're still trying to do that. And like, I don't think you can compare Mass Effect to Mario Party. I agree. I see your point. Yes, those are much harder games to remaster. They have a lot of content and they get a lot of things to fix and improve and re-render or whatever. Mario Party is just, it's a different audience. You can't compare, I don't know, that to that, I think. But I also say there's more content.
I'm not comparing the games themselves, but I'm comparing like content dollar for dollar. And
you can't base an experience on dollars. That's my belief. I see what you're saying. I totally think you make a totally valid point. I'm always thinking like, God, I paid $40 for Dark Souls. I never played it. I'm going to go play it now. I don't actually want to play Dark Souls. I just want to get my $40 worth of it because I bought it on sale. You know what I mean?
Gentlemen, we have got to keep moving.
I think that is a gaming topic that I would love to discuss later. And so, yeah, I will keep going. And this was my favorite announcement because I knew they weren't going to talk Metroid Prime 4. Everyone knew it. They're like, no way. And so they were like, when they said, like, hey, Metroid Prime 4 is doing fine, I was like, they're going to talk about something else. Like, it's got to be something else Metroid. They want to just shit on my feelings. Wait, what they? And so,
well, Zelda did it, so why wouldn't they do it to you?
Metroid, because Metroid's already dead. No. Sorry. Metroid Dread got announced, and it's a 2D Metroid. I can't say Metroidvania because it's what invented Metroid. But anyway, the genre-defining Metroid is back. And it's a new Metroid game, not a remake, none of that. It's Metroid 5. It's 2D. And I know, like, it's always been thrilling or suspenseful in Metroid, but they felt like it felt like through this trailer, they were going for a full horror-esque vibe. And I fucking was there for it.
You're right. 100% right. That was a fantastic trailer.
It's coming out October 29th. I am beyond excited. I think there were talks about a Metroid 2D being announced, and I was like, I'll believe it when I see it. Like, here, maybe. I think there was more talk about the Donkey Kong and Kirby, which were not there. Spoilers. Yeah. Anything you thought of Peaches or JP that you'd like to add to Metroid Dread?
You're absolutely right. I mean, I was certainly surprised to see, hey, Metroid 4 is working along just fine, but we don't have any news. So anyway, here's Metroid 5. That threw me for a loop. I'm like, that seems backwards. That being said, Metroid Dread looks fantastic. Zach, you hit the nail on the head. This is going to be a very, like, suspenseful, maybe even on the verge of horror-style Metroid game, and that excites me quite a bit. Because not only did I want a rehash of Metroid, I also wanted Nintendo to take a step in the direction of true horror. And I think this is a pretty solid compromise. I can't wait for this game.
Yep. And so I'm gonna so that is like my most sad thing. I hope it gets some sales because that's the thing that Metroid always gets crapped on for. It's this critical, amazing masterpiece, and then it sells like 800 copies, and everyone's like, "Where's my Metroid at, bro?" And then next up, Just Dance. Yeah, that's coming.
Who's still buying these?
A lot of people. I go back to my Mario Party debate.
Fair point.
Cruising Blast, which was, I don't remember. This was the car racing game. It's kind of like, I don't know. Some people made it try to sound like Cruising Blast was kind of like the Nintendo's Forza. And I was like, okay. It's just a racing game on the Switch as of now, and it might be
yes,
neat.
Correct.
So after Cruising Blast, Dragon Ball Z Kakarot plus DLC is coming on September 24th. They did talk about Mario Golf, which is coming out this Friday. It'll be out on the Friday after you guys listen to that podcast because you're awesome. And I will be playing that and probably streaming it. So hopefully you guys can reach out and we can play together. Maybe it's got a good online.
Yeah, let me know, Zach. I'll be playing that shit.
Woo. And they announced that just like Mario Super Aces, Mario something, the tennis game on the Switch, it's gonna have free updates. So yay, content to keep it relevant. Okay, yeah, Mario Golf, exciting. Play with us. Okay, after that, Monster Hunter Stories 2. They're getting a free demo. I think I did this backwards. You're doing a free demo on July 9th, and then the game will come out on July 25th. So if you're interested, and they said it carries over to your new save file, so that'll be neat. Are any of you guys interested in Monster Hunter Stories?
I would love to try Monster Hunter. I just have so many other things on my backlog that take precedent. And despite the fact that I'm about a month into my summer vacation, I've barely gotten to any of it. So
I feel you. Actually, no, I don't. I'm clearing my backlog like a motherfucker. Ah!
Yeah, dude, you're fucking just trucking that shit.
Zach, you are tearing it up, man. And you're doing it while streaming, which is a whole new beast. I love that. I love you.
Oh, okay. So here is why I'm confused. Are you guys ready? Sorry, I want to clarify this. Monster Hunter Stories 2 Wings of Ruin trial version is coming soon. It does transfer to the full game on Nintendo Switch. Oh, the demo's available June 25th. On Steam, it's available on July 9th. Because I was going to say, this is coming to Steam and Nintendo Switch.
Okay, that makes more sense now.
Sorry. WarioWare, get together. JP, you're excited for this. You were like, this is the game that I'm most excited for. Tell me why.
Okay, so I don't know if it's what I'm most excited for out of the Nintendo showcase, but it definitely is exciting. And to tell you the truth, I don't really know why I'm super excited for WarioWare. I remember there was a game I played on fucking addictinggames.com, if you guys remember that shit from 15 years ago.
I was more of a cool math games guy myself.
Yeah, you look like the type. Anyway. I'm sorry. So anyway, there was like the game where the premise is you have like, it's a game with like 100 different little games in it that only take 4 seconds. And I remember it was a blast to play. And WarioWare is kind of the same premise. Not to mention that WarioWare has a lot of salience in other parts of Nintendo culture, right? Like the trophies that you can get in Super Smash Bros. And just like nods through other games to WarioWare. I don't know. I think it looks like a lot of fun. I think it looks quirky. I think it looks actually well put together. And I want to let Wario into my heart.
All right. Yeah. I'm probably going to get it. It's like one of the few games I haven't ordered because I'm like, I'll wait till I get like reviews. The next game, though, I am super excited for only because I had to miss out on Persona 5 because it didn't come out to Switch. So anyway, the next game that I'm getting at is Shin Megami Tensei 5. It's coming out on November 12th. Guys, I got super anime vibes from it, and that just gets me super excited. I love anime. I love RPGs. You fuse them together, you're going to have a good time.
They quite literally took the plot of Persona 5 and made it this game. I mean, there's a few key differences, but I mean, like, even the demons, they just took some of the same designs, like, quite literally.
I love how you said, did you know Shin Megami Tensei is actually the original?
I did know that.
So they didn't take it. Persona took it.
But who's more popular? Okay, you are right. You're 100% right. Shin Megami Tensei came before any of the Persona games did, but I don't understand how these games are like related in the sense of like you literally have the same exact characters and demons and like mechanics.
I believe I think it's a spin-off. I'm pretty sure I don't offend anybody. Like Persona is supposed to be like the more, I don't know, relatable one maybe? And Shin Megami Tensei is more focused on the demons? I don't know. Maybe I'm wrong.
I don't know. Persona kind of makes me uncomfortable. Like it's, don't get me wrong, Persona 5 is excellent, but like looking back on Persona 5, I'm like, there's a lot of like really old dudes that are like down bad for high school girls, and that makes me very uncomfortable.
Yep, you're not kidding.
So hopefully Shin Megami Tensei can skip out on that part of Persona.
No, you're just trying to save the world from the apocalypse. It's fine. Just normal high school stuff.
Just high school things.
Are you guys excited for this?
Yes, actually, despite like kind of my sadistic tone towards it a moment ago, it does look excellent. It looks very good. I also enjoyed Persona quite a bit, and these mechanics seem to make it a lot more streamlined to like what you're actually doing, where like Persona is a lot more dedicated to kind of like that balance between high school life and, I don't know, being a weird dimension traveling demon slayer. I think Shin Megami Tensei looks like it's more dedicated to just the latter of that, which, I don't know, I kind of did like the balance in Persona 5, but at the same time, like, my favorite parts were definitely slaying the demons, so there you go.
You always love killing demons. Okay.
Hell yeah.
And so yeah, that's that. It looks really polished. It's getting a worldwide release, which apparently is not a thing that normally happens. Was Persona 5 worldwide release?
Not initially, I don't think.
Yeah, I do not think so.
Yeah, so apparently this is like an Atlas first. Like Atlas is like notorious for not doing that, so that's kind of a neat little thing. Anyway, going on. Danganronpa is coming to Switch. It's a high school sadistic take of Phoenix Wright is kind of the vibe I got from it. I know a lot of people like it, and that's why it's coming to Switch. Did you guys have anything you want to add to that?
I think it's extremely interesting. I do want to try it, but then again, I also did want to try Phoenix Wright, and I never got around to even picking it up. So it's one of those things where like I admire it from a distance, but I probably will never play it.
I feel that. All right. So with that being said, we had one of the biggest surprise announcements besides Metroid. Fatal Frame is getting a new game.
Yes.
Made in Blackwater.
What an announcement. That's incredible. I can't wait. Now, this is a game I can't wait to play. If you've never tried the Fatal Frame series, it was super popular on the PS2 era. But God, what a horror game. The setting is amazing. The mechanics worked really well. A lot of people were extremely excited for this, and I'm one of them for sure.
Yeah.
Wow.
Not my type of game, but I could see why JP would be excited. So, yay! I like happy JPs. Okay, and then we went straight through a bunch of games. So, you guys ready? Rapid fire. Okay, we have Ringu, Doom Eternal DLC, Tony Hawk Pro Skater 1 and 2, Mario & Rabbids 2, Advance War. Oh, okay, actually, I should stop. Sorry. Ringu and Doom Eternal DLC are kind of the quick ones. Tony Hawk's Pro Skater 1 and 2, quick. Mario & Rabbids 2, we already talked about. Advanced Wars is one of those games that a lot of people talk about highly of that were on the Game Boy Advance, hence the name. And it's kind of like a take on, like, just if you liked Fire Emblem, you're going to like Advanced Wars. I guess that's not necessarily true. But it's like a strategy-based game like that, where you're like moving captains around, you're like responsible for them. It was not more casual than like you just your tanks wouldn't like die and be gone forever. Maybe they add a new hard mode to that, but it's basically a reboot of Advanced Wars 1 and 2, and that's coming to Switch on January on December 3rd, I think is. Yes, December 3rd. And then they ended with JP's favorite thing. JP, are you ready? Hyrule Warriors DLC. I'm not one who's totally in love with it. I don't hate it or anything. I'm going to get to playing that eventually. But yeah, they're really hyping up this Hyrule Warriors Age of Calamity DLC. And I'm assuming they're going to have some sort of tie-in with that last DLC with Breath of the Wild 2. Spoilers, talk about Breath of the Wild 2.
Actually, that's not true, because essentially, okay, you know what? Spoiler alert right here. Move ahead like 2 minutes if you don't want to hear this. The ending of Hyrule Warriors Age of Calamity essentially confirms that they're going off of multiverse theory, where they didn't lose the war and Link didn't have to go in the hyperbolic time chamber. So,
did you beat it, JP?
I did beat Age of Calamity. Despite its gameplay getting pretty stale, I did enjoy the story elements. I'm pretty conflicted with the confirmation of multiverse theory, but at the same time, if they didn't do that, what they did in Age of Calamity literally would not have made any sense to what actually happens in Breath of the Wild. So,
right, because it's supposed to be a prequel.
Right, so it's kind of like, you know what, I can live with this. For what it was, I thought it was fun. But again, by the end of it, I was sick of the gameplay. Skyward
Sword HD is still coming on July 16th.
I'm very excited for that.
Did you snab a pair of those Joy-Cons or no?
Haven't pre-ordered them yet, but I do plan on looking at them soon, yes.
All right, and then there was The Legend of Zelda Game & Watch. It'll have Links 1 and 2. I did that, JV. I just did it.
You did the thing. You did the
It's gonna have Zelda 1 and 2 on it, and then it'll have, and this is why I said it, Link's Awakening on it as well. The original Game Boy version.
Bro, I felt like this was like just a troll at everybody. It was like the Switch Pro announcement, you know?
Yeah, right.
Everyone's like, oh, where's the new console?
You guys wanted more bezels, less graphics?
Less game slots.
They heard me. They heard my cry.
They really do listen.
They really do. And there's a clock function on the Game & Watch. If you're a diehard Zelda fan, I bet it'll be a cool knick-knack for you. And then there was Game of the Year, Breath of the Wild 2. They talked about it, JP. They showed 30 seconds of actual gameplay, and it kind of makes sense why it's taking so long.
Yeah, that gameplay was actually incredibly crazy. And it also makes sense, actually, now why they're releasing Skyward Sword at this point. Because if you look closely at what we got in Breath of the Wild 2, which, by the way, my groaning, I'll explain why I'm groaning here in a moment, but if there's a saving grace about this Zelda part of this Nintendo Direct, it was the Breath of the Wild 2 gameplay, because it looks like, you know, you see Link like diving in Breath of the Wild 2 in a similar fashion that he does in Skyward Sword. And what you need to know about Zelda lore is Skyward Sword is technically the very first Zelda game. It's like the game that like explains like who's Link, why is Zelda important, where did the Master Sword come from. All those games are answered in this, and now you see mechanics from that game being emulated in Breath of the Wild 2. So yeah, things are starting to kind of click and make sense, and wow, what a trailer. That was an outstanding trailer. What did you guys think of that?
I'm ready to peaches because I'm ready to join in your excitement.
Are you guys going to be excited?
Yeah.
Yes.
All right, I'll go after then.
So I thought it was really neat. I was like, why is it taking so long? And I'm like, they could do Dark World. They could just do some of that. They could just make Zelda playable. Like, you know what I mean? Like, there's so many things they could do to make this just... There's so much of that world that I guarantee most people didn't get to. And I'm glad they didn't take the easy way out. They pretty much destroyed the world. There's flying cities now. Link can like go underground and go out of the ground. Like, it's just a bunch of cool stuff, like a bunch of new gameplay possibilities. And I'm just sitting here like, okay, you have a whole new sandbox basically. Like they're kind of reusing it, but they're more or less just reusing the art style from what I can tell. And they're adding so many more gameplay possibilities. And I think that
right.
And with how long they're taking, like this is taking just as long between Skyward Sword as Breath of the Wild. So you know they're gonna make a banger. And so that's my thoughts on this. Peaches, go ahead and nail us down a peg here.
I did not see enough to be extremely excited about this yet. I like what did we see? Link's got like a robot arm, and there's time powers and go through the floor powers,
and the flying.
Was it really flying? Because I mean, it looked like flying like the same way that you could fly, quote unquote, in Breath of the Wild 1.
Well, there's flying cities, so you have to get there somehow. But you're right; it could just be smart gliding.
So the reason that I'm not super in love with this trailer is just I didn't see enough to really get super hyped about it. Because like we saw new powers, like it looks like you can kind of reverse time instead of just pause it like you could in Breath of the Wild, and you can jump through some floors. But other than that, I didn't see enough of like expanding on what we saw in Breath of the Wild to be like, oh my gosh, this is the greatest thing I've ever seen, you know? Like,
right.
Breath of the Wild really had to work to win me over, because like I played it after all the hype had kind of gone away for it. And Breath of the Wild 2 is just like, you can't just give me Breath of the Wild, but like, again, you know, you have to add to it and like show me why this is a whole new thing. Like Mass Effect 1 to Mass Effect 2, it might as well be two different games by how much they expanded and improved Mass Effect, right? And so I want Breath of the Wild to kind of do the same thing, like take Breath of the Wild 1 and build so much from it that it's like it's the same incredible like new experience. But I did not see enough of Breath of the Wild 2 trailer to get that vibe from it.
Okay, so The reason why I disagree with you, Peaches, is because you see tons of different mechanics already from this trailer that says a lot about the direction that Breath of the Wild 2 is going to go. For example, Link's arm. Like, the way it's, like, almost fused with the Sheikah Slate now. Like, that you didn't have any questions about that and the new mechanics that it brings on, like, from that being a new thing. And on top of that, if you look at the trailer, we barely saw anything that took place in the old land of Hyrule that we saw from Breath of the Wild 1. This is all happening in places we've either not seen before from, like, Breath of the Wild 1, or in the sky, which suggests that this next game is probably going to take place above the clouds, where, kind of like Skyward Sword, you can travel between the land and the clouds. I think that this trailer says a lot without saying a lot, if that makes sense. I think these hints make a lot more sense to Zelda fans than it does to kind of Breath of the Wild fans, if that makes sense. I don't know. I disagree. I think there was plenty to be excited about in the trailer.
That's what I was about to say, is like, hearing what you're saying right now, it sounds like we're coming at this from, like, I'm coming at this as a guy who did not care about Zelda even kinda.
But likes Breath of the Wild.
Breath of the Wild. Yeah. And you're coming at this as a diehard Zelda boy.
Yes, correct. So, but that being said, I've heard a lot of opinions from even diehard Zelda fans that say they were disappointed in the trailer. I disagree. So,
real quick, JP, what do you think about the Zelda is actually Ganon theory? Or Zelda, oh my gosh, I'm doing the thing. the Link in the trailer is actually Ganon.
It's hard to say. I've heard the theory. It doesn't have a lot of ground, in my opinion, to be true. Especially because we know that Breath of the Wild relative to the timeline, I mean, it would make sense if this were a game that took place before even Skyward Sword. Then again, I'm trying to think of where the placement of this Zelda game is. What I would say is, if that were true, holy fuck, that's a great twist.
Yeah, no, see, that's a twist that gets me hooked right away.
Yeah, I'm all for it. Like, Zelda is my favorite gaming franchise of all time. And that being said, though, like, anytime they have any way to deviate from the formula that has become so apparent in every Zelda game that Breath of the Wild has broken, go for it. But I think that's a pretty far-fetched theory, nonetheless.
And that's how Nintendo's Direct ended. I was very whelmed.
I have one last thing to say. That Zelda, those last 10 minutes where we got nothing but Zelda crushed me. If you listen closely, when they're showing us the Game & Watch, you hear them say, "We do not have any games or anything planned for the 35th anniversary of Zelda, but we do have this fucking Game & Watch." That crushed me.
Oh, I didn't catch that.
Oh, I caught it right away because I remember how dumbfounded I was. That crushed me.
Yeah, I cried.
That destroyed me. That broke my heart.
I cried big tears for you, brother.
Because for months now, for a year now, we have speculated on all the amazing things that Nintendo could do for Zelda, its third biggest franchise, for its 35th anniversary, which is supposed to be a huge deal. And I guess it's kind of my fault and every other Zelda's fan fault for getting our hopes up. But to know that Mario got this extravagant treatment for their 35th, and then all Zelda fans get is this stupid Game & Watch, which don't get me wrong, I'm going to buy it. But
just because I'm weak doesn't mean I'm not disappointed.
But that crushed me, man. That ruined the whole Direct for me almost. That was just like every time they have brought up Zelda within the last 3 gameplays, something has disappointed me. From literally the last time where that same guy showed up and was like, "Hey, I bet you're expecting Zelda news, huh? Well, that sucks," and then left. To this time where they're like, "Hey, you know how you were hoping for something extravagant for one of our most beloved franchises' 35th anniversary? Well, here's a Game & Watch that is, you're not going to really play that much, but it makes a really cool paperweight." I acknowledge that it's partially my fault for getting my hopes up with no real grounding as to why they would do that. But also, on the other hand, why would they not? And that's it. I'm getting off my soapbox, but I'm very mad at Nintendo right now.
And That was it for Oh, just kidding. There's one more thing.
There's one last thing, but it's not that important. So this has gone on for almost 2.5 hours. Peaches, run us through this last thing so we can get out of here.
All right. Bandai Namco showed House of Asses. Nice.
House of Asses. Where?
Is Lady Demisif in there?
Please?
Oh, she better be.
No. Okay. So they showed House of Ashes, and it's a military horror game. I don't know. I thought it was funny that the demon's name is Pazuzu.
Pazuzu.
Isn't Pazuzu from The Exorcist?
I was thinking Pazuzu from Futurama.
I was thinking Zuzu, like what Azula calls Zuko.
We're all having fun here.
Yeah. Other than that, I have no thought. Like Bandai Namco showed Elden Ring off for Summer Game Fest, which kicked off E3. So, I mean, they didn't really have much left other than this, I guess. So this definitely, Elden Ring looks down at this and just spits on it.
All right.
So yeah, that's closing us out for E3. I think we got through it all. What a fucking epic.
Jesus Christ. We just went through 4 days worth of incredible gaming news in 2.5 hours.
It was good. It has been a good week. I love being just drowned in games, you know?
It was very opposite of when we started the podcast, and there was nothing to talk about. Besides, this is getting canceled. This is getting delayed.
That's the downside of starting a gaming podcast in the middle of the pandemic, right? Is like every week it's like, hey, we got more stuff that was delayed or canceled. But no, finally. So on Saturday, we're talking about who won E3 and which game won E3 for game. Like, I don't know. We're still working out the logistics of it. But altogether, how did you guys just feel about getting this gaming news? Did you feel rejuvenated, like relieved? How'd you feel?
I felt really good. Yeah, like it's just nice to have normalcy. I don't know.
Any sense of it, right?
Yeah.
Like,
and then just like all the gaming news, like it's a lot to be excited for. It's also just nice being, I don't know. So it was a different E3 because I was kind of cheering for everybody because now I have all the consoles. Like we talked about it. Like that's not me trying to brag. That's just me saying like now I can kind of appreciate like just like hey like I'm not like just rooting for one team. It's like whoever shows cool stuff I'm excited for because that's more cool stuff for us to play instead of just being tied down to one.
I'm not gonna lie, like this E3, like I don't want to get all too sappy on us, but like I felt like I was in high school again, getting excited about video games. You know, like the last like time I was super hyped about E3 was when I was in high school, and since then I just feel like it never hit quite the same. But maybe because this was the first E3 coming out of a pandemic that I was like, oh shit, this is the good stuff.
This do be the good stuff.
I actually do think that's a positive side of the pandemic, if there is any, is it makes you appreciate these things that we didn't have before. If that makes sense, because you don't really remember how valuable events and moments like these that you really care about are until they're gone. You don't realize how important they are. And having E3 back, Zach's right. It's like, it not only does it represent getting normalcy back, but it's just like, wow, I really missed this last year, you know? Like, it seems like I get spoiled by just having this every year. But because I didn't have it this year, it made me love it that much this year, you know? Sure, not everything that we wanted was in here, not even close. I got my fucking hopes crushed by one sentence in the Nintendo showcase, but I still loved it. I still loved every moment of it. It was...
And Elder Scrolls fans are never going to get to be happy ever again, so that kind of sucks for them, but...
Yeah, but this is about me.
Me.
You want to go out for ice cream now that we're all done?
Please. More than anything, I just want to get a bowl of cereal and go to bed.
All right, let's go get you some ice cream, champ.
That's not what I said, but okay.
Yeah, I know. I don't want to get cereal. I want to get ice cream with you.
What about ice cream with cereal on it? Have you ever had like vanilla ice cream with cinnamon toast crunch?
I had the Lucky Charms ice cream from Cold Stone with the Lucky Charms stuff on it.
That was super disappointing.
I enjoyed it. This isn't an ice cream podcast. Let's get out of here.
Do they have those? Do they have an ice cream podcast? All right. No. Yep. You're right. I'm exhausted. Guys, we did a fantastic job of covering everything in E3. On Saturday, we are doing a Let's Talk over who won E3 and which game came out on top. So make sure you stick around for that. I'm going to have a heyday editing this episode. And in the meantime, thank you all so much for listening to this episode of the Game Tea Podcast. We will see you in the next episode.
You just got your game
your Game Tea.
Hey, nice. This was Czar. Oh, wait, no, it wasn't.
Later.
I'm Zach. Wait, I'm doing it wrong. Bye.
What? That's not how we close. Get out of here. Cut the video off.
If you like what you heard today and you're looking for more ways to get your Game Tea fix, check us out on Patreon. With bronze, silver, and gold tiers starting at $2 a month, there are several incredible rewards you can receive for supporting the show, such as a follow from us on Twitter, access to a monthly Q&A session, an invitation to our private Discord server, and even bonus episodes of the podcast only accessible to patrons. Your donations will be used to make the show even better. The link to Patreon is in the description with our social media, so go check it out. Once again, thank you so much for listening to the Game Tea Podcast.